The Cardinals are back in Louisville, and the fans here in the Bluegrass State more than happy to welcome them back because the Coastal leading Virginia Cavaliers are in town. A big tilt in the ACC. Coming up next, it's Virginia and Louisville on the ACC Network. Neither rain nor wind nor gloom of night can keep folks away today. Louisville, a surprise team in the ACC, taking on a team everybody expected to have a little bit of success, the Virginia Cavaliers. Hi, everybody. Chris Cotter alongside Mark Hertzlick. Kelsey Riggs is going to join us in a little bit. She's trying to stay dry on the field. We're undercover here, so we're all right for the game. Let's talk a little about Virginia. They were expected preseason to win the Coastal. They've done everything they could to get there. Had a little bit of a hiccup against Miami a couple weeks ago, but last week they righted the ship.
Yeah, with that win versus Duke, it put them in the driver's seat of this Coastal division. And now with Pitt losing earlier today, they're in a one-game lead. Really big drive for them this season, not only today, but then next week at UNC. They need to finish their season strong, and they're in the right direction to do that.
Number of first-year coaches in the ACC, Scott Satterfield here at Louisville, one of them. They already doubled their win total from last year, so I would guess you would have to say to this point in time in the season it's been a real success.
Yeah, it has been, and he adopted a team that had only 2 wins last year, and when he came in, he was very candid when he talked to us. He didn't expect them to win very many games at all, but the buy-in from his team to his new type of culture and new type of coaching, he wanted to create a family atmosphere, whereas it was a dictatorship before. His players really bought in.
For more on the Scott Satterfield success early on, let's go down to the field and Kelsey Riggs.
Yeah, you guys touched on it just a little bit there. There was a lot more for Scott Satterfield to fix when he got to Louisville than just football. He had to fix this whole program and the culture, and he came in with 6 core values to try to do that. The first one is 2. It's trust and respect. And he says in order to get trust, you have to be consistent, and consistency is something that takes time. And in just his short time here, he is able to develop trust from these players and able to have success on the football field as well, you guys.
Right, Kelsey, my favorite on that one is the last one. Have fun. Might not be a whole lot of fun going against this Virginia defense, though, today.
No, they're a great defense. They're ranked 8th in the country and 4th in the nation in sacks per game. Watch them bring pressure off the top of the screen. They're going to play a man-to-man coverage from top down at the defensive back position and just drop a guy in the middle. Quentin Ayers wants to get the ball out fast, but has to pump because of that tight coverage. They forced that sack, forced fumble. Now Louisville have some absolute studs on the outside at wide receiver. Look at Des Fitzpatrick here. The ball is thrown up to him, and watch him able to adjust in the air versus Clemson, come down with a big catch. They're going to need a lot from these playmaking wide receivers to have chance versus Virginia today.
There's a look at Bronco Mendenhall, Virginia head coach in his 4th season. Every year, more and more wins in that column, and this year hoping to take his Cavaliers to an ACC championship game. Toe meets leather, and we're underway here in Louisville. Keon Wakefield at the goal line. Dances his way trying to get out to the 20, won't quite get there, and Louisville will start at their own 19. Ever since Lamar Jackson departed for the NFL, Louisville's been trying to find who that next quarterback is going to be, and right now they haven't quite figured out which one it's going to be, but it's going to be one of these 2 guys today.
No, they haven't. They started the year with Jawan Pass, who then got injured for the season, but now it's between Micale Cunningham and Evan Conley. Micale Cunningham is more of a pure runner. He can throw the ball, and you see that 62% completion percentage, which is up from last year, but he is a guy who can run the ball well. When Conley goes in the game, he is more of a bruising runner, but he can throw the ball, so they're going to switch off between the 2.
Cunningham keeping it here, gets to the edge and picks up a nice gain of 7 on first down.
Yeah, and you saw his running ability there, which we just alluded to, but that was a designed quarterback run, just a quarterback sweep to the outside with the running back lead blocking, and his speed to get to the edge. That's something that Evan Conley does not possess.
We just saw Conley flashing in the signals on the sideline. 2nd down and 3 for Louisville. Handoff, Hawkins. Picks up a couple to bring up 3rd down and short. Hawkins is a good story, too. Freshman running back. Diminutive, if you will, 5'9", 182 pounds, already with 751 yards on the season.
Yeah, no, he's a great player, good runner, and his ability to run the ball east and west and then cut back, that's what makes him so special. He can make men miss in the hole, and you said he's short, but coach said he's built like just a giant muscle. He's dense, and he can take a hit.
He's going to the little one here, gets through, almost broke that one. Boy, Joey Blunt prevented a touchdown. If Blunt doesn't catch him by the shoestrings, he's gone.
And Hawkins just squeaks through this hole. Watch right between 83, the tight end, and the defensive back. He finds that, and when you teach this zone running scheme, you want to tell your running back, find the back hip of your blocker and just squeeze right off of there. Found that good lane. Joey Blunt with really a touchdown-saving tackle early in the game.
Fake to Hawkins, Cunningham rolls. It's the receiver, pick up a 5 yards. That's Tutu Atwell.
When we talk about the weapons at wide receiver, Tutu Atwell has got to be one of the first guys you think about. He's leading this team in receptions, and his ability to play this slot position, to get those crossing routes underneath and just run away from guys, sets him apart on this team. Really good compliment to the big outside receivers.
This time, Hawkins bottled up. Zane Zandier in to make the stop. They'll lose about a yard.
Zane Zandier, when we talked to Charles Snowden about him, he said he's really the heartbeat of our defense. He was actually a wide receiver in high school and transitioned to linebacker. You don't see that transition very much, but he uses his speed and his knowledge of an offense to just slice in there. He is a guy that you want at the point of defense. And that linebacker position, you see, he's got his little, they look like mouse whiskers. I'm sure that's not what he's intending to.
I'm sure he does not like you saying that. 3rd and 6, Cunningham. Throw, complete. And that's going to be a first down. He hit Atwell again. Chris Moore on the stop for Virginia, but Cardinals moving it now into Cavalier territory.
And so we were wondering how well Micale Cunningham was going to come back this game. He was only 4 for 11 last week versus Clemson, and obviously an outstanding defense. Virginia's got a great defense in their own right, and you know he's driving his team down the field on this first drive.
Cunningham keeps a lot of room to run here. Lowers his shoulder out of bounds. Pickup of 9.
And he caught Charles Snowden looking on that one. Charles Snowden, the outside linebacker, has the quarterback responsibility. He just gets faked out at the last minute. His eyes were poor, but good job by Cunningham riding the ball in, pulling it last minute, and you see that speed.
And Hawkins, plenty of room to run. Another pickup of 8 yards. They're gashing him here, 8 and 9 yards a pop.
I want you to watch this left tackle. Big number 73, Mekhi Becton. Watch him just drive people off the ball. You're going to see a lot of these run plays go to the left side of the line of scrimmage. When you have a 6'7", 270-pound offensive tackle, you want to run right behind him.
Cunningham with a play fake. Going to the end zone. Overshoots his receiver. Got kind of hung up there was Atwell.
Yeah, it looked like a miscommunication between wide receiver and quarterback because it was such a big disparity in where they were. But really, it was Brenton Nelson, the safety. He just got really good contact on the wide receiver to disturb the route downfield. That's one thing that college football has different than the NFL. You can contact the wide receiver as long as the ball is not in the air yet. Now, kind of interesting formation here.
Hand off to Hawkins. He just crashes into the line. Give him maybe 3. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, this formation is kind of an old school formation where you're going to get 2 fullbacks in the game and then the halfback right behind him. And this is going to cause a bunch of different holes for the defense to fill. You're not exactly sure where those fullbacks are going to place in the line of scrimmage, but you have to add over. Good job by Virginia on that one.
3rd and 7. Cardinals look to keep this drive alive. Cunningham. Pressure comes. He's going to keeps his feet. Now he's going to go down. It's not easy to bring down. Eli Handback and company were there to eventually take Cunningham to the turf, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Right in the middle of your screen. Watch right there. Watch him get around, get some push, drive right on the center, walk him straight back, and just bullies his way into the backfield. And he gets only a half a sack. He doesn't bring him down, but Charles Snowden jumped on top. Really good by him.
No man's land here. Do you punt? Do you go for a field goal with all this wind? Well, Scott Satterfield is keeping his offense out on the field here early. On 4th and 14. Cunningham in trouble. He'll get dropped. Second consecutive sack for this Virginia defense, and they'll take over on downs.
Wow, well, that's really interesting. Really interesting play call there to go for on 4th down, but Virginia gets there for another sack. They get the ball and come back.
ACC Network Football is brought to you by Food Lion, the official grocer of the ACC.
Tailgaters out of the Cardinal Express earlier today. Francisco Garcia, former basketball great here at Louisville, one of the newest members of the Cardinal Hall of Fame, along with our colleague Eric Wood. We'll speak to him a little bit later on in the broadcast. Louisville takes their first possession of the game. Has a nice little drive going. They go for it on 4th and 14. Don't get it. Now an opportunity to see Bryce Perkins in this Virginia offense. Perkins looking to pass. Out here in the flat, has a receiver open. That's Joe Reed. We're talking about him a lot today. Gain of about 8 yards on 1st down.
Bryce Perkins means so much to this Virginia offense. Last week against Duke, he accounted for almost 80%, 75% of the total yards in that game, and pretty much what he's been doing all season. But his ability to throw the ball and run the ball and pick up tough yards sets him apart, is something just so valuable to this offense. Look for a lot more quarterback runs from him this week. When we talked to head coach Bronco Mendenhall, he said because backup quarterback Brennan Armstrong had been hurt for many games leading up until last week, they didn't want to run Bryce Perkins very much, but now that he's healthy, they feel like, okay, if for some reason he does get dinged up, at least we have our number 2 quarterback to fill in.
Wayne Talapapa ran on 2nd down and was able to pick up the 1st down. Now Virginia in Cardinal territory. Flag down. Perkins out here to Reed. He'll pick up about 4 yards before Dorian Etheridge brings him down. Let's check on the flag. Our first opportunity to hear from Jerry Magallanes.
Offside, defense, number 29. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
It's Darius Peterson, defensive end. Guilty of the infraction. Yeah, 29 could be the number of a defensive end for Virginia, the way they assign numbers. They're not assigned, I shouldn't say. They're picked by players.
Right, they're picked. They have an earn-it mentality. You have to earn everything, including your number. You have to earn the right to even practice. You know, they start their running portion of their spring ball out by just, you have to master stretch before you can run and lift, and have to master run and lift before you can get on the field. And then if you master practice, you can pick your number. So low down the list are some of those guys who took a little longer.
Perkins tried to get it to his tight end, Tanner Cowley, over the top, just overthrown.
So I'm really excited to see Tanner Cowley and what he's able to do today. I think if there's one weak point that's still lingering of this Louisville defense, it would be their linebacker core. They have had some improvement at the D-line and at that 2nd level, but the linebacking core just is not quite there yet. And so that's an opportunity for big Tanner Cowley, the tight end, to get some good plays in his direction today.
This direction here isn't going to work. Tavares Kelly was dropped right at the line of scrimmage by a whole host of Cardinals, Gigi Robinson among them.
Watch this spin out by Bryce Perkins, kind of whoop, whoop, whoop. There you go. Well, that one didn't fool anybody. It almost looked like Bryce Perkins was confused himself. But now we have the first 3rd down opportunity for this Louisville defense, and the crowd is on their feet getting loud.
Talapapa with Perkins in the backfield. 3rd down and 5.
Louisville showing pressure.
Cowley comes in motion. Perkins gonna tuck it, try and run with it. Now it looks like now we got a flag, a stoppage of play.
Before the snap, delay of game offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Crowd got into it so much we couldn't hear the whistle. Jerry Magdalenas tells us delay of game, so that'll be a 3rd and 10 now for Virginia.
Please reset the game clock to 6 minutes, 52 seconds. 6:52. Thank you.
Showing blitz, top of your screen.
Perkins can't handle the snap. Now he gets it back, has a receiver downfield. It's Assis Dubois, he makes the catch. What a play. All kinds of confusion at the line of scrimmage, and Perkins didn't look like he wasn't expecting the snap. Was able to corral it, and Dubois was wide open.
Yeah, it looks like he was about to check when he saw the pressure, but the ball was snapped anyways, and the safety that rolled over top, Kane pass, was not able to stay with Dubois. You know, maybe he had some eyes on the quarterback, but great awareness by Perkins to know where the pressure was coming. When he corralled the ball, was able to get it off, find his receiver downfield.
Virginia converts on 3rd and 10. Now they have 1st and goal. Perkins is going to keep it. He's got blockers in front of him. Spins his way down to the 6 before Monte Caban brings him down.
We saw Louisville put some different fullbacks in the backfield with some odd formations to gain some extra blockers. Well, another way to gain an extra blocker is just to run the ball with your quarterback. Use your tailback as that lead blocker and pull some big offensive linemen to get in front. You're going to see that a lot. That's what we're talking about when we talk about these design runs for a quarterback. There's no pass option involved.
David Talapapa squirts his way into the end zone for the score.
6 yards for the score.
Good job by this offensive line. Right in the middle. Actually let a guy go right inside. 94 for Louisville gets right there. Just misses the tackle, and then Wayne Talapapa just drives his legs, forces his way into the end zone. And after what looked like could have been a fumbled snap by Bryce Perkins, turns out to be a huge play, and a few plays later in the end zone for a touchdown.
Ryan Delaney with the PAT, and Virginia up early here on the road, 7-0. They've had some red zone struggles, not lately though. And Talapapa, his 3rd touchdown in the last 2 games. Cavaliers up top.
Virginia just scored on their opening drive. It's 7-0. Scott Satterfield going to try and get his guys to answer right back. He's been in a position like this before and gotten the guys to buy in to even when they're down. They have to buy in on making things better, and part of that is a culture. The offensive line is a big part of that. I got to spend some time with them on Thursday night. Every Thursday night, they go to their offensive coordinator's house, Coach Letford, and have dinner. It's not about football, it's just about family. There's wings and pizza. Let me be specific, 15 pizzas, 200 wings. If you think about offensive linemen, they like to eat a lot. I went over there, had dinner with them, and it was really cool just to see the kind of culture that Scott Satterfield and his coaches have created here. Their wives are involved. There's cookies before the cookies are even on the table. They're already gone, and she's upstairs baking a lot of them. They play darts. I got to spend some time with Tyler Haycraft as well. He says he is the darts champion. He may or may not have gotten beat while I was there, but definitely a cool experience to kind of see how these guys are buying into the culture that he's trying to create here at Louisville.
Yeah, it certainly has been a night and day difference for this team. That's Keon Wakefield on the return. We got a flag here. Let's check on it. Initial indication is it will be against Virginia.
Offside, kicking team, number 38. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. 1st down.
Satterfield and Louisville will then take over from their own 29.
Look at those big boys up front. Look at that. How many pizzas do you think that man ate alone? That is a lot. He could probably down 2 whole pies by himself. I want to know how many pieces of pizza Kelsey had.
You guys, that is a trick question. I didn't have any pizza or wings. They offered it.
But you declined.
You didn't want any?
Too busy working?
Yeah, listen, okay, so they offered it. They offered me pizza. They offered me wings. The players were eating. The coaches weren't, so I didn't feel like I could be the only one over there eating all the pizza and wings. And then there were leftovers at the end. They said I could have them. I'm like, how am I going to take pizza and wings home from hungry college kids, offensive linemen at that? So I got Zaxby's on the way home.
Oh, that's awesome. She didn't want to eat all the pizzas. That's the reason why she didn't do it. That's good.
Penalty against the Cardinals. Moving back 5 yards, just moving back a couple more. Hawkins with nowhere to go. Hand back among a number of Cavaliers there to make the stop.
And with all the changes he wants to make off the field, on the field, this is a different looking Louisville team. And when we talk about the Scott Satterfield offense, it is rush first. Look at the rushing improvement right there in that graphic. Last year to this year, just a massive dedication to running the ball. And that right there is another way you can run it.
One man to beat. He'll beat him. 77 yards for the score.
Becomes a lot easier to have an explosive offense when you have guys like #1 carrying it. And right there, that won't go down in the record book as a run, but because the ball was tossed forward, that's technically a pass. However, has that same effect in Tutu Atwell using his speed, coming all the way across this field from the slot position and outrunning the entire Virginia defense for the score.
Creaky on for the PAT. He's perfect. Louisville storms right back to even this one. Tutu Atwell, his 7th touchdown. All knotted up at 7 apiece here in Louisville. Tutu Atwell with something that this Cardinal team has gotten used to so far this year. That's explosive plays. And a lot of them are long passes. A lot of them are passes and runs after the catch. You see Lamar Jackson, by the way, here in the background. I'm sure he liked that play. Atwell's speed carried it into the end zone, 77 yards. And now Joe Reed standing by his own end zone.
77-yard play. That's the longest play that Virginia's given up all year. They're not used to giving up those big chunk plays. Atwell is. He has 8 catches of 20 yards or more. Now make that 9.
Chris Sharp gets it to Reed. And he's got a good return brewing. We'll talk about this in a moment. Let's send it to the studio now. Jordan Cornette with some news on the Noles. What's going on, Jordan?
Dr. Pepper with your Fansville update, Connor. And how about Cam Akers? All night, like I said, a porch lights, his 2nd touchdown of the day. How about this line? 51 yards on only 5 carries. FSU leads 13-0.
That's a nice average. Even my partner here at Boston College grad can figure that one out. Just over 10 yards a carry. That's what you want. Telepapa. Not a lot of room to run inside. Picks up maybe 3. Nick Okeke there to make the stop. We saw Joe Reed on the kick return. Both these coaches said we want to kick it away from these stars that are 2 of the best kick returners in the country, where they still found a way to get the ball into Reed's hands. Now Reed out of the backfield. Perkins looks his way, now looks him off. Downfield, just overshoots his man. That was Tavares Kelly. He's only 5'8". He ain't going to be able to get up there and get it. We got a flag down, and Perkins is down too.
Flag down right around that area. Could indicate a roughing. Let's see at the end of this play.
Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Just got rolled up on.
Yeah, that's not good. That sometimes, I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but that looks like it could have been a knee injury.
Well, as the Virginia staff takes a look at Perkins, we'll update you on his status when we come back. Well, you see Bronco Mendenhall there with this Virginia medical staff taking a look at Bryce Perkins. Went down on that last play when one of the defensive linemen, Dana Kennard, just rolled up along him. Not a dirty play at all. Kennard was being blocked. Actually, was being held on the play. But he rolled up on Perkins. Now Perkins gets a nice ovation from the crowd here at Cardinal Stadium. But that is tough news for both Perkins and for his teammates. Brennan Armstrong coming in. He's been shaken up a little bit. This young left-handed quarterback out of Shelby, Ohio. Could be his team now, at least for the remainder of this game.
Yeah, and he's new. He's young. You know, we mentioned the number situation. He's a redshirt freshman, and he has a quarterback number. So, you know, he obviously has some respect from his teammates. He's got a little bit of game action so far this year. He's 9 for 10 for 103 yards. Has thrown a pick, but let's see what he can do now. The ball goes on the ground.
Talapapa tries the inside of that Cardinal defense. Give him 3 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and long for Brennan Armstrong. What a trial by fire for this young man now here on the road.
Yep, now we're going to see what the call is for this freshman quarterback. The ball is going to be in his hands, 3rd and long. He needs to make a play through the air. Look for a pass that's not too risky. They want to probably max protect, get the ball down the field, throw it away if you have nothing. Just don't force a turnover.
Atkins in motion. Underneath. Can't hook up with Dubois.
Yeah, they tried to motion 4 to one side and just throw it to what they thought would be man-to-man on the backside, but ended up being double coverage. No turnover, get to punt the ball away and get their defense on the field. Their defense is still the strength. Anytime you lose a quarterback, it's devastating, but when your defense is the strength of your team, you still have a chance.
Nass Griffin, his first punt of the afternoon for Virginia. Rajay Burns standing deep for the Cards. Their catch made by Rajay Burns after a 45-yard kick. Cardinals back on the field offensively. Hey, tonight at 7:30 Eastern, we'll have the 4th-ranked Clemson Tigers hosting BC in Death Valley, our ACC Network primetime matchup presented by Geico. It's also available on the ESPN app. As Boston College will see what they can do on the road in Death Valley, going against this tough defense that Louisville had to face last week firsthand. They know how difficult it is to run the football, so A.J. Dillon and company won't be easy.
No, it won't, but you know, they're coming off a 429-yard rushing game, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It's funny when we talk to a bunch of these teams, they talk about they talk about Boston College being almost the Georgia Tech now, right? You have to prepare a little bit differently because they run that old school 3 tight end running game that you just don't see a lot. So, you know, it takes a different type of person, different type of attitude to stop that. Teams have to prepare for that. Boston College is a tough test with Clemson.
Hawkins with maybe a foot on 1st down. He'll get another opportunity here. Bigger hole as he gets into the secondary. Close to a 1st down, he'll pick it up.
They went again with that 2 fullback set. And watch 83 enter. Enter cuts the defensive lineman and just adds a little bit of crease. Snowden does a good job of getting off the block to make the tackle, but not before big rush.
Isaac Martin filling in there, the fullback filling in that hole and springing Hawkins for a 1st down. Cunningham gets a block himself. Cuts it near side into Cavalier territory, 30, 25, out of bounds at about the 22. Charles Snowden finally tracking him down, but another big pickup for Louisville.
So I want you to keep an eye right here on running back number 10, Javion Hawkins. Watch his he's getting out here, throws a big block right there on the safety to spring his quarterback loose. And when you have speed like Micale Cunningham has, there's no block, there's no defenders in front of you. You can outrun them to the sideline.
Hawkins eludes one tackle. There's a second tackle. Snowden couldn't quite wrap him up. He made a little something out of nothing, 6 yards.
You can see right there on his arm, there's a little PlayStation controller. His nickname's PlayStation because he makes moves like that. He plays football like it's a video game. He's making guys miss. He did a great job there. There you go. There's a good shot of that PlayStation controller. Just absolutely difficult to tackle in the hole.
We get it on the stretch. This time it'll be brought down to the backfield. Zane Zandier, lightning quick.
Yeah, really good job. Zandier played backside of that blocker and used his speed to just track down the ball carrier. Sometimes when you run the ball into the boundary like that, you don't have the ability to use your speed to get to the edge. Zandier does a great job of tracking that one down.
That'll be the final play of the first quarter. Entertaining quarter, back and forth action. Louisville threatening again when we come back to start the second. We're all knotted up at 7 apiece in this key ACC matchup. All knotted up at 7 apiece here in Louisville as we head to the second quarter. Bryce Perkins, that's good news. Came out of the game just on the last Virginia drive with a knee injury. Smile on his face, has his helmet in his hands as the Cardinals face a third down here. Cunningham underneath. Beautiful play to knock it away by Nick Grant.
Yeah, good break on the ball. Louisville ran a bunch of crossing routes. Nick Grant just sat and let everything sort itself out. You'll see him come in from the left side of your screen and just followed in behind wide receiver Des Fitzpatrick. Micale Cunningham needs to get that ball out a little bit faster, but Nick Grant, great job of using patience and getting the ball out. Big stop in the red zone for UVA defense.
Left-footed Blanton Creaky from 28 or 38 yards out. And he misses it. Very accurate kicker, 8 of 10 on the year, and Creaky just pushes it a little bit wide left. So the Cardinals get nothing out of that drive, and we remain all knotted up. Kelsey Riggs has some more information on Bryce Perkins. What do you got, Kels?
Well, guys, when he came off the field, everybody relieved to see him walking off on his own. He went straight to the athletic trainer's table. Looked like they were checking out his knee, did that for a little while. Then he got up off the table, walked gingerly up and down the sideline, then actually got in a few quick jogs, few sprints. And as you guys mentioned, back on the sidelines with his helmet in his hand, and now looks like he's going to be back at quarterback taking snaps. So good news for Virginia and Bryce Perkins.
Helmet on his head now as the Cavaliers start from their own 20. Now he's flushed out of the pop. He's just going to have to get rid of it, and he does. So Varius Peterson applying the pressure.
Well, it's good to see him back out in the field, and he was able to scramble away there. Didn't look like any knee issues, but the issues have come from Virginia's offensive line all season. I talked to Bronco Mendenhall. He referred to the offensive line as really the governor of this offense, really limiting their production or letting them to let loose at full speed, and pressure right there by Louisville defense. They need to shore that up, get Bryce Perkins a nice pocket throw out of.
Perkins try to get it to Reed. Didn't connect. It's been 3rd and 10.
That pass didn't look like he got everything behind it. You never know if that's his leg bothering him or planting, but now 3rd down. He's going to have to find his guys on the outside. That last play was trying to go to Joe Reed. Now Joe Reed's on the sideline. So look for number 8, Assis Dubois, to be the guy they look for a big play on 3rd down. With Dubois right up there at top of your screen.
Crowd here at Cardinal Stadium getting into it. We've got movement and flags all over the place.
False start, offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty, third down.
This Virginia offense seems to be out of sync here.
Yeah, it does. And this Louisville crowd, although the stadium's not full, they are loud. And on that first drive, you got the delay game, now a false start. That's going to get the crowd even more involved. This offensive line needs to settle down and focus on doing their job.
Howard, the tight end in motion. Perkins rolling. Just has to throw this one away as well.
Yeah, he did not look like he was moving as efficiently as he usually does in those last two scrambles, but he's just throwing the ball away. And this seems, so far at least, like this is going to be a game that some points are scored. They're going to need to start capitalizing on third downs, not shooting themselves in the foot with some of those penalties, because Louisville has been definitely gaining some yards, if not points, every single drive.
You have a swirling wind here in Cardinal Stadium as Nash Griffin gets off a good punt, has the wind at his back, and Burns is going to have to call for a fair catch, but lets it bounce. This is going to be a huge play for Virginia. All the way down to the 7-yard line. That's a 78-yard punt with no return. Virginia now deep in their own territory. Louisville gets the ball when we come back.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Cardinals and Cavaliers all even at 7 apiece early in this second quarter. You see Micale Cunningham started the game for Louisville as expected. Evan Conley going to get some reps too, the true freshman out of Marietta, Georgia. He's in for this drive, which Louisville now will start from their own 7-yard line after the third longest punt in Virginia history. Totally flipped the field. Conley with the handoff to Hall. First time we've mentioned Hassan Hall's name, and he gets nothing. Kelsey Riggs is down on the field with the latest and newest member of the Louisville Cardinal Hall of Fame, our own Eric Wood. Kels?
Yeah, our ACC Network friend and new Hall of Famer. Eric, thanks so much for joining us. How does that sound?
It sounds pretty good. It's extremely humbling with the athletic success that the University of Louisville has had. And to go in with that class last night, people I looked up to, Angel McCoughtry, a #1 overall draft pick, Francisco Garcia, and the list goes on. It was unbelievable. Tell
us a little bit about what it was like last night. And you got your daughter Grace with you now, and your wife and your other children here as well. That had to be a pretty special moment.
Yeah, it was absolutely special, and the amount of people that came out and supported last night, and have throughout my career, but last night I really got emotional thinking about it, and just truly humbled by the amount of support I get day in and day out from the people of Louisville, Cincinnati, and everybody else.
Well, you got a big ovation when they said your name, and you were just presented a little while ago. Eric, this is my first time to Louisville, and we have been blown away with the facilities here. They've got a new player lounge, and Scott Satterfield has done great things. What do you think about where this program is right now?
It's heading in the right direction. And last year, you're coming off a 2-10 season, 0-8 in the ACC, and for what Scott Satterfield's been able to do this year has been absolutely remarkable. The culture is set, and it's going to take a couple years to get back to the 8, 9, 10 win seasons, I'm sure. But the culture is set, and I know everybody's extremely excited around town right now.
I'm sure that you've probably gotten to spend a little bit of time at least with Scott Satterfield. What has impressed you the most about what he's been able to do here in just a short amount of time?
He's a neighbor of mine, so we do spend a lot of time together. But just how he's gotten complete buy-in from the players has been absolutely remarkable. This is a team on defense last year. They were historically bad. They have no recruiting class and get hit by the transfer portal harder than anybody else in college football. And they're out here making plays this year and really making the fan base proud.
Eric, you touched on it a little bit, just the way he's been able to change the culture. And as you're sitting here holding your daughter with your family, we talked to Scott Satterfield a lot about family. I went over to their offensive coordinator's house. They have all the offensive linemen in on Thursdays. How big a difference does something like that make when you have guys that are really buying into the culture because they believe in what you're doing?
I think that builds the trust between the players and the coaches. And when the trust is there, they want to play hard for you. So, yes, them having them over their houses, just a consistent message day in and day out of what's expected of them has done wonders for this program. And these players love playing for Scott Satterfield and his staff.
Chris and Mark, I could just talk to Eric all day, but I'm sure you guys have some questions too.
Well, after a 3 and out by Evan Conley in Louisville, Virginia getting the football in good field position. Now they're in Cardinal territory. Yeah, Eric, I think that's a big part of it, is the fact that the facilities are here in place. The history that you're a part of here with Louisville is in place, so it's just a matter of getting the right coach. And I think they have it at Satterfield to be able to build this program up. But I don't think it'll take that long. I mean, he already has 4 wins on this year, kind of trying to position himself for a bowl win in year 1. And he doesn't have his own players in place yet.
Yeah, and he's a guy that he wants to reshape that offensive line. And I know that that's key in your mind. Talk about Micale Becton. Have you been able to watch any of his film and how he might translate to the next level as a pro?
Yeah, Micale Becton was with the team when I was still working out with the team when I was playing in the NFL still. And I've been impressed with him since the day he walked onto this campus. And he's just so big and athletic that gets him by. But he also has this tenacity about him, and he's athletic, and he's going to be a heck of a ball player on Sundays.
Virginia picking up a first down, so a new set of downs for the Cavaliers. Bryce Perkins in that quarterback spot. Good to see him back in there. He was shaken up earlier in the game. Got off on his own power, but it looked like he had a knee injury. Seems to be fine now. Handoff. Talapapa with a nice run on first down. They'll move the chains again.
Yeah, Talapapa did a great job of, again, finding his blocker and just scooting right off his backside. Too much space between the cornerback and the end of the line of scrimmage allowed him to pick up those yards. But you see where Virginia is already. They're encroaching in on this 30-yard line, and that's because of that monstrous punt. They really flipped field position, and when you're playing in a field position game, a defense-first game, that is huge for your team.
Out to Conley, but Callie, the tight end, inside the 20, down to the 18. Kane pass brought him down, but not before 13 yards. Virginia with a nice drive going here.
Well, that's reminiscent of the old triple option where you have the inside handoff as a possibility. The quarterback can run, and then you leak your tight end out in the flat, which was the old pitch play, but now it's just swing it out to your tight end. All the receivers just went down and blocked on that play. Really good play design by Bronco Mendenhall and Robert Nahi.
Talapapa, a lot of room to run. He'll score. Second touchdown of the day, 19 yards this time.
Well, we're in the red zone, and Virginia is dedicated to the run. But look at what Louisville has. They have 3 defenders standing outside of the tight end, and then 2 guys stacked right here. There's nobody in these gaps in the middle. And watch as the running lane just opens wide up. There's still 3 guys outside the widest man. I don't know what defense that was, but it was not sound, and they better not go back to it.
It was not effective in stopping Virginia's Talapapa. Cavaliers take the lead. I want to thank Eric Wood and congratulate him on his induction to the Cardinal Hall of Fame. Virginia on top here, second quarter. Virginia back on top here in Louisville, 14-7 over the Cardinals. Wahoo's the preseason favorite to win the Coastal, although as we see every season, the Coastal is never guaranteed. And certainly when Virginia beat Pitt, you thought, okay, all is right. But then North Carolina, Mac Brown said, hey, I'm a pretty good team myself. Got the upset win. Duke thrashed Virginia Tech, so Duke looked pretty good. North Carolina went down, but just as Duke starts to look good, well, they fall to Pitt. Virginia Tech bounces back. Then Miami beat this Virginia team down in Coral Gables. You thought, yeah, Miami now is for real. No, because Georgia Tech beat them. Then Virginia bounced back last week against Duke. So it just seems like everybody wants to beat everybody else. The good news for Virginia is they took that punch against Miami, withstood it, beat Duke last week, now back on top here, and they're atop that division right now.
Yeah, they're atop that division. With the Pitt loss earlier today, look at their percentage of winning this bad boy, 69%. That's drastically higher than it's been all season. They have everything in front of them. All they have to do is win out. When you can control your own destiny, that's the exact point you want to be in at the end of October. Some big games coming up, namely North Carolina.
Yeah, that's huge next week. This one this week and next week on the road for this Virginia team. Massive. Season really hangs in the balance. Conley now back to quarterback. Stutter steps. Dangerous pass, but a great catch in double coverage. Beautiful catch by Seth Dawkins. Yeah, flag on the play, unfortunately, might be coming back.
Yeah, flag in the holding region.
Illegal formation, offense. 5 players are in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Jerry Magdalena shares the bad news on that call for Louisville. Scott Satterfield and company trying to figure out what went wrong.
All right, let's see right here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. And right there, that's the guy who didn't check that he was on the line of scrimmage. A lot of times you look over to the official and just make sure that you're all set. That time, apparently he didn't do that, wasn't on the line of scrimmage. That's where the penalty was called.
Now the hand to Hawkins. Stiff arms his way. It's the penalty yardage back. We'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Late flag comes in.
Yeah, it looks like it might have been a face mask right at the end of the play.
Another one now.
Holding, offense, number 7. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Des Fitzpatrick on the outside, trying to spring Hawkins.
Yeah, it looks like they might have missed that face mask that was grabbed right at the end of the play. Watch right here. Yeah, right there. That's a face mask. You know, you can't grab and just let go. Grab, that's still called, but they called the holding penalty. It's going to move him back.
Crowd saw what we saw on the Jumbotron. You can't miss it. These 2 Jumbotrons here about as big as the entire city of Louisville. Massive. Look at him there.
There's really not a bad seat in this whole place.
The Cardinals moving back again. 1st and 20. I think the Hawkins pressure coming. Now they're going to get it to him in the screen, but he's not going to be able to go very far either. Great pursuit by this Virginia defense.
Yeah, you saw number 7, Chris Moore, sniff that one out. And he's filling in right now. Chris Moore is. And watch him right here, down in the box. He's filling in with Bryce Hall injury and some movement in the backfield. He's playing a lot more now than ever. He's been a corner, a safety, he's playing a little linebacker. They call him Chris Army Knife because he can do a little bit of everything. Snipped out that screen there.
Love it. Quickly the outside. Tutu losing his footing as he tried to cut back. Give him 7 yards. Brenton Nelson was there to bring him down. That could have been a much bigger play, but Tutu couldn't quite keep his footing.
Yeah, and he just has an extra gear that he gets into, and this little speed burst. Jordan Mack looked like he had him in his radar, in his sights. And right at the last second, Tutu said, okay, I'm not actually running as fast as I can. I'm going to burst away from you.
Another gear.
Good job by him.
This offense needs another gear now, 3rd and 14.
It's interesting that it seemed like Micale Cunningham was doing a really good job at quarterback, moving the ball up and down the field. Then you take him out and some stalled drives when Evan Conley's in the game.
Flushed. Pressure coming. Ball bounces out of his hands. Goes out of bounds. Jordan Mack with the big hit. That's going to be ruled an incomplete pass.
The ruling on the field. The pass went forward. Incomplete pass.
So back-to-back 3-and-outs to your point, Mark. And now Virginia will once again get the ball in good field position.
Yeah, we talked about Tutu Atwell running away from Jordan Mack. Evan Conley doesn't have that extra gear. And Jordan Mack just absolutely decimates him. And Jordan Mack is leading the ACC in sacks. He's got 7 of them. He is an animal, and you don't get that a lot from that second-level linebacker position.
The previous play is under further review.
Originally ruled an incomplete pass. The ruling was that Evan Conley's arm was going forward. The ball clearly went forward.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, it's tough to tell from that angle, but let's watch right here. The ball actually seems like it's coming out as the arm is still back and not coming forward yet. However, it does release forward because of the kind of whiplash that happened. Now, another thing you want to look at, is there forcible contact to the head or neck area?
Zandier, number 33, would be one that they would be looking at here, whether he leads with the crown of his helmet here.
Right there, kind of both play. You know, I look at Jordan Mack coming in from the backside, and right here, he kind of used the crown of his helmet right in the back. It looks like he hits the back, but then Zane Zandier uses the crown of his helmet and just smacks Evan Conley right in the face. So, you know,
whether it's a forward pass or a fumble is going to be immaterial because the ball went out of bounds anyway.
Yeah, you know,
if it's a fumble forward, out of bounds. It's still going to bring up 4th and long.
Yeah, it would be about just, you know, field position, where the punt would be coming from if they decide to punt. We saw them earlier go for it on 4th and 1,000,000. But I think what they're going to be looking at too is whether there happened to be a targeting call. We'll hear from the official right now, referee.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. 4th down.
Illegal forward pass. 4th down. Mason King will punt it away for the Cardinals.
Well, there's no explanation on the targeting, but it looks like maybe they didn't even look for that. If it's not called on the field, you don't have to review it.
Out here, Cardinal Stadium wanted those targeting calls to be called. Kemp with the fair, no, not the fair catch. Receives and gets dropped immediately. Nice play by Russ Yeast and company with his Louisville special teams. Trailing by 7. Virginia with the ball back with the lead. Checking out the museum here at the Yum Center for the Louisville Cardinals. College hoop season is right around the corner. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have our Nothing But Net season preview show, breaking down all 15 men's and women's teams right here on the ACC network and on the ESPN app. I know my buddy Jordan back at the studio was involved in that. Seth Greenberg, too. Luke Hancock, former Cardinal here at Louisville. A lot expected of this basketball team here in Chris Mack.
A lot expected of both these basketball teams.
Defending national champs. Lose a lot from last year, but where they are right now, they'll just be low. Reed now on the carry, fakes the double reverse. Nowhere to go, runs into a bunch of tacklers. Russ Yeast was there. Thought the ball might have come loose. Officials disagree. Nothing doing for Reed on that carry.
A good edge to the defense by Russ Yeast, coming up from that safety spot and just setting an edge. Good job by the guys inside, stringing it wider and wider and wider. There's just nowhere for Reed to run.
Second down and 8 for the Cavaliers. Perkins out here to Reed. Just slips it to him. Picks up 5 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and short. What are you thinking here, Hertzler?
Yeah, they got the 3rd and short. You want to keep the ball. I would keep the ball in my quarterback's hands as an option. You might see, you know, a run-pass option, him having the ability to get the ball out fast on a quick read or pull the ball down and run himself. I want to look at the left side of this offense. Yeah, Bassis Dubois and Joe Reed right down there. Look for that to be his first look.
It's almost intercepted. C.J. Avery jumped in and almost picked that one off. Probably should have.
Yeah, and that one was going that side of the field all the way. You saw Perkins initially try to look off the safety, but it doesn't fool number 9 linebacker right in there. C.J. Avery, the ball just went right in his hands. And this ball is not coming out of Bryce Perkins' hands very well. You saw that one wobbling. could be this slick ball. Still a little bit of rain out there. You expect better from Bryce Perkins.
Nash Griffin back to punt for Virginia. Last punt went 78 yards. That's the longest in the FBS this year.
He's going to do well for his average.
Has that wind behind him again here, although it is swirling a bit in Cardinals Stadium. Let's see, he doesn't want to get off a 78-yarder here. High kick. Fair catch made by Rajay Burns. Cardinals will once again start deep in their own territories after a 49-yard kick. (14-7) our score. 6:03 left to go in this first half here in Louisville. Time for Food Lions, food for thought. Louisville continues to go with this two-quarterback system. They've done it all year, and they do it here today. This is the performance of Cunningham and Conley so far. Conley back in the game here on this drive for Louisville.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if there's something wrong with Cunningham, but Evan Conley has been in for the past 3 series, and he's gotten absolutely nothing going on offense. It seems like they were moving the ball really well with Cunningham.
Flag down as Hawkins goes nowhere on first down. And it looks like this Virginia defense is saying we're going to stop Hawkins and not let him beat us. Shot block is going to move the Cardinals back. To Conley's defense, if there is any at this point, every one of his drives has started really deep in his own territory.
Illegal block below the waist. Offense, number 83. The penalty is declined. Second down.
Could there be a little bit of conservativeness in terms of the play calling from this Louisville coaching staff, trying to prevent him from getting into trouble deep in his own territory?
Yeah, there could be. I think the thing that bothers me about the decision is you're taking out a really explosive run threat in Cunningham, and he already proved today that he can run the ball, and so now they're not even respecting Conley running the ball and teeing off on Javion Hawkins when he runs up the middle.
Pitch outside, gets away from that well, and he falls on it at the 2-yard line.
I mean,
well, the timing clearly wasn't there on that play.
No, and you know, Evan Conley has shown flashes in the past of being really good, but right here, this is on him. You pull it off, it's the right read, but you just got to get the ball to your receiver, who Tutu Atwell coming around to the boundary, and now you're backed up on your own 2-yard line, 3rd and 20.
Yeah, this is not ideal.
Not ideal at all, and you just got to prevent punting from the 1-yard line.
Hawkins is met at the goal line and bounces his way out of the end zone. Virginia very aggressive defensively, and the crowd not liking the play calling, but I'm not sure what else you could do at that point. How aggressive could you possibly be on 3rd and 18 from your own 2?
No, I mean, it becomes the right play call, but the reason why UVA is able to do this is they're just shooting gaps. I mean, they don't have respect for Evan Conley to be able to throw the ball or run the ball right now. So they're just teeing off on Javion Hawkins and telling their defensive linemen to get vertical. And right there, Manny Alonso did that almost with TFL for a safety.
Mason King has to watch his heels that he doesn't step out of the back of the end zone here. Punt this one. Not a whole lot of room. He gets off a good punt. Kemp is going to catch that as 45 and look for room. Up the middle. Flag down as Kemp finally is brought down. But Virginia will have outstanding field position as they start this drive once again.
During the return, legal block in the back. Receiving team, number 41. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Not as good field position. Jordan Cornette back in the studio. What do you got for us, JC? Thanks, Jordan. That's a score that certainly Virginia fans are going to keep an eye on. Cavaliers and Tar Heels next week, Chapel Hill. Perkins over the middle. Sees Dubois. That was a tight window. Picks up a first down right at midfield. Dubois down. Looks like he's, well, it's hard to tell, but he sees Dubois after the tackle remained on the turf. Maybe that right shoulder.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass. The line of game was made. First down.
You always wonder when you fall down as a receiver with someone on top of you on that shoulder, whether it's a collarbone issue. Let's see as he lands. He's holding that right side right there. Doesn't look a ton like anything happened. Let's see from here.
There's some question as to whether he actually caught the football. The ruling on the field was that he did. That the 10 yards was enough for a first down. Yeah, he's holding that right shoulder.
Yeah, he's not moving at all. Sometimes you can get a stinger where a nerve kind of gets pinched when your head gets tilted a certain way, and that can radiate down your arm and have some weakness and numbness. So we'll see if they do some strength tests on his arm. Could be a stinger.
Yeah, at least temporarily now Perkins loses one of his top targets. Talapapa. Near side to Jana, the Canadian. He's brought down, but not before a first down. 13 yards on the pickup.
He fumbled the ball forwards out of bounds.
The ruling on the field was a completed pass, fumbled forward out of bounds. It will be returned to the spot of the fumble. Results in a first down. The line of game was made.
Yeah, they initially
Johnson was there defending on the play.
Yeah, they initially placed the ball where it went out of bounds, and obviously they'll move it back. You can't fumble the ball forward out of bounds and gain that yardage, but good play. The timing was a little bit off on that reception. The route was run and looks like the receiver was open.
The previous play is under further review.
Replay official Rusty Acree will take a look at this one. He'll be in consultation with Jerry Magdalenas, our referee. Let's take another look.
So let's see the spot of the fumble. So they're going to be measuring to see whether it's a first down or not, to see where that fumble took place.
Looks right at the stick to me, right about the 41.
And wherever he loses control, Johnson might have ripped the ball out right at that. Yeah, it looks like
maybe a little bit, even mid
42, could be just short
of
that 41, maybe the 41.5-yard line. Ball's out there. Yep, it looks like it. Looks like it's short. It looks like it could be at that 42-yard line, which would not be enough for the first down.
We talked about the weather a lot today, and it was raining all day leading up to about kickoff, really end of the first quarter. The rain has stopped. The wind has picked up.
Yeah, it's windy, and the temperature is not that cold, but with the wind chill, you don't usually talk about wind chill much in October, but it's a little bit nippy out there, and the ball gets a little bit harder. But talked to Bryce Perkins. He said they brought about 50 footballs to this game because they were anticipating heavy downpour the entire time. I don't think that the ball's wetness has much to do with it right now, but it does seem like there's just something off with the timing or the accuracy between the quarterback and the wide receiver for UVA.
Awaiting the final word on this review from our referee. Here it is.
After further review, the runner fumbled the ball at the 41-yard line and it went forward out of bounds. It will be returned to the 41-yard line. The line to gain is the 41.5. It will be second down and a half a yard to go.
Flip those. So the line to gain was at the 41. I think they'll put it down at the 41.5, but
there's regardless, a half, yeah. It's the 40.5.
The call is a second down and inches now for Virginia. Talapapa can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. He'll lose a little bit. Javarius Peterson was there.
See a lot of motion and a lot of guys going in a bunch of different places for that UVA offense, but it ends up just being the same guys, a different guy in the same spot. So the defense doesn't have to change their gap. But now on this 3rd and 1.5 after that little bit of loss on that play, this is a big test for the front seven of Louisville. Can they shut down this Bryce Perkins, Wayne Talapapa option?
Perkins looks to throw. That's Reed. He'll get the first down.
Well, they didn't even have to worry about the run there because Virginia saw everybody condensed inside, and just throw it out there to your speedy wide receiver. Just need a couple yards, get the first down. It's a good job of reading the box as a quarterback, checking to the pass play, and getting the ball out to your receiver.
Lining up in the slot at the top of your screen. Atkins now in motion. Perkins, complete. Dubois back in the game. That's good news for Virginia. Makes the catch. Chandler Jones all over his back.
Yeah, good catch. And watch the release by Bryce Perkins. We talked to the opposing team coaches, and they say, he can throw from any body position. That's not exactly how you want to teach a throwing motion, but he whips it in there with accuracy to Dubois. Enough for another first down.
Clock inside of 2 minutes to go here in the first half.
Reigns picked back up. You see it down the field.
Perkins makes one man miss, spins almost out another tackle. Still on his feet, though. He'll get it inside the 20.
Yeah, well, if there's any question about his knee health from earlier in the game with those few errant scrambles and passes, that right there was a pretty good indicator that his knee is feeling okay. Cutting, juking, spinning, and driving his legs for a pickup on the play.
That's his first rushing attempt. Rather than trying to evade the rush, since he hurt that knee. So you're right, that's a good sign. Second down and 6. Intercepted. Picked off by Chandler Jones.
Great job catching it by Chandler Jones, but an errant pass by Bryce Perkins. Let's see if this wet weather, the ball comes out of his hands just inaccurately and overthrows his wide receiver, Terrell Jana, who was on a stop route. But you see that ball wobbling. The wetness all week, they've practiced what they call wet ball drills, throwing and catching and snapping with wet footballs. That right there led to a big turnover.
Just as I say, the rain has let up. Pitch back up. Walker just fighting his way for yardage, trying to get the Cardinals out of trouble.
How impressive is that guy? Second smallest guy on the team, just drives his legs.
State Farm halftime report coming your way in just a moment. First half reaction from this game. Pitt goes down earlier today in Boston College. Clemson preview. That's the game coming up after us here on the ACC Network. Guys in studio awaiting our arrival. Just a few seconds. Cardinals right now deep in their own territory, just content to let this clock run down here and get to the locker room down 7. Conley looking to throw. He'll be sacked. Zandier is there to bring him down. Third sack of the day for Virginia. And that'll take us to the horn here, ending the first half.
Good play by Zandier. He was covering the running back man-to-man. Running back blocks, add blitz, get yourself a sack right before halftime.
Both these teams make their way to the locker rooms just as the skies open up here in Louisville.
Ooh, and the wind's blowing into our booth even.
Coming in.
It's been a real interesting first half. Looked like Louisville had a lot going on offense early with Micale Cunningham at quarterback. And then they switched it up. Evan Conley and just absolutely nothing after that.
Virginia owned the field position too. Louisville was operating out of the shadow of their own goalpost for almost the entire second quarter. Kelsey's standing by right now with Bronco Mendenhall.
Coach, Bryce Perkins is such a big part of your offense. When he went down, obviously able to come back, but what was going through your head in that moment?
Just having to move on and going to our backup, Brennan Armstrong, and luckily he came back to full health this week, so it would have been the best scenario possible of a bad scenario.
Your offense was consistent throughout the first half, but a turnover right there at the end. Now the rain's starting to come down. What do you need to do in the second half to keep the momentum going in your right direction and take care of the football?
Yeah, scores are too hard to come by. Once we're down here, we need to make sure we come away with points.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Totally jinxed Kelsey by saying the rain had stopped. She's going to be so cheesed off at me. This Virginia defense coming in ranked 8th in the country in total defense, 4th in sacks, doing what they do best, up 7 at the break. We'll send it to the studio. 14-7 our score here as we get set for the second half kick. As you can see, the weather has taken a turn for the worse. Flags are taut there at the top of Cardinal Stadium here at the Ville. Chris Cotter, Mark Hertzlick. The game in the first half in terms of the way it was played, kind of like the weather, not necessarily a thing of beauty. Bryce Perkins got injured, came back, played fairly well, but the two-quarterback system not really working out so well for the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, it's been a sloppy game offensively for both teams, and you saw early Micale Cunningham had some big plays on the ground. He's the Cardinals' leading rusher, but it was taken out in the beginning of the second quarter, and Evan Conley came in and has had no success moving the ball at all. Now there was a gigantic 78-yard punt by Virginia.
Yeah, Nash Griffin might be the player of the game so far.
So far he is, and special teams is going to play a huge role in this game. We thought it might have been from the returnman, but you can also have the weapons at that punter position. And now Louisville is going to try to pin Virginia deep, but they have to kick it away from that super dangerous Joe Reed. He loves bringing the ball back for touchdowns.
Again, Blanton Creaky will be kicking into what is now much more of a headwind. It was a crosswind in the first half. It's turned right into Blanton Creaky's face. So he's going to now have a doubly difficult task to kick it away from Reed, but also to get some kind of distance on it. He just punches it. Reed's going to pick it up. It's not going to be Reed. It's going to be Kelly. He gets outside, 40-yard line, and makes a good return out of it. That return was just like the entire first half of play here at Cardinal Stadium.
It was messed up. So when you're on the receiving side of this, like, it's a surprise little kick, and they just come out of the huddle and just go. I mean, it's like, you know, they have no coverage lanes. They're just right in the middle. And when your return team, it just blocks somebody. And you saw it there. The ball was able to loop around the outside. It's interesting. You try to overthink things. I think that was what that was. They overthought that kick and then didn't have good coverage lanes. The ball returned out to the 40-yard line.
Good field position for Perkins and Virginia to start the second half. It's all Papa. No, Perkins has it. Fooled everybody, including me, and he's going to get a big gain out of it.
Yep.
22 yards for Perkins. He's so smooth sometimes.
Wasn't that like a pretty nice little sleight of hand? I mean, it was almost like he waited a tick when he faked that handoff to Talapapa and pulled it. But it was interesting. On that run, I didn't see that speed burst that you usually see from Perkins. It was more of that smooth gallop. You wonder if that knee's affecting him.
Now Talapapa has it. Spins forward for a couple of yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Virginia quickly moving into Louisville territory here to start the second half.
Virginia and Bryce Perkins, they do have an explosive offense in terms of being able to pass the ball, but their bread and butter is running it. Whether it's with the running back or with the quarterback, they want to use the run to set up the pass. Look for this shot downfield. Could be coming right here.
Papa fades the initial tackler, but can't really get much after that. Another 2-yard gain. Yasir Abdullah was there to bring him down.
And that's going to the well one too many times. Louisville has to concentrate on, okay, we need to stop the run. Let's force them to throw the ball, especially with this wind whipping. Now you have 3rd and long, and those flags are still flying back and forth. It's going to be difficult throwing into a headwind for Bryce Perkins to get the ball downfield. Look for a quick pass out up to the side, possibly to Joe Reed, who's lined up in the slot right here. Let's see if they draw up on 3rd down.
Flags come down, movement for Virginia. They'll have to move back 5 yards.
False start, offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Dylan Reinkensmeyer, the junior out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, guilty of moving just a little too quickly.
That's the 3rd pre-snap penalty by this offense, moving them back, and it's consistently been on these 3rd downs where they're trying to get a play, and now they're even farther, even longer. The crowd here at Louisville is weathering the storm, and they're getting loud, getting into it. They feel like they can affect this game.
They're down in 12. Cardinals bring 4. Reed has it out in the flat. Can't elude the tackler, though. That's Chandler Jones, who had a big pick in the first half. Now making a stop here on 3rd down.
Good job by Chandler Jones playing top down on that route. He knows that if he forces them to complete the pass in front of him, they're not going to pick up the 1st down. And now this is, kind of a questionable range. It's a little too far out for a field goal unless they feel like they have the wind at their back. Let's see what they...
Look like they're bringing out Nash Griffin to punt it. This is going to have to be the exact opposite of that 78-yard punt he had in the first half. We'll take a 28-yard punt here. End over end. Cavaliers are down there. They're down it inside the 5. It's a bounce. The Cardinals, but they'll still get it. The Cardinals will around the 10-yard line, which is, again, where they were almost for the entire 2nd quarter. They're right back in the shadow of their own goalpost. Let's see what the Cardinals can do, trailing by 7 when we come back.
Virginia right now. Louisville going to get the ball for the first time in the 2nd half, and Micale Cunningham back at quarterback. I got a chance to talk to Scott Satterfield as he came out for the half, and I asked him if there was anything going on with Cunningham in the first half when Evan Conley seemed to have trouble getting the offense going. He said no, that Micale started the game, played most of the 1st quarter, and that Evan Conley, they were just going to stick with him through the 2nd quarter. He did say we will see both quarterbacks again here in the 2nd half. The other thing that he brought up is something that you guys have been talking about just a little bit, and that's the weather. Expecting some weather here in just a little while. He said it depends on how they'll handle it, depending on field position and the wind. Right now, on this drive, Louisville going against the wind, guys, so we'll see how things pan out.
Right, thanks, Kels. Devontae Cross with a nice play defending on Des Fitzpatrick on 1st down. Bringing up 2nd down and 10. Here's Atwell trying to make a man miss and cannot. Noah Taylor just stayed home and dropped him for a loss.
Great discipline by Noah Taylor. Just a great job of staying outside. Watch him right here. He sees the motion coming across and just stays outside. He has to keep everybody inside as contained man. Really good job of leveraging that from outside in. Noah Taylor's a guy who's a real difference maker, a playmaker at getting to the quarterback, but his discipline allows him to make plays like that.
Another 3rd and long, deep in their own territory. This is a broken record for the Cardinals. Cunningham's going to try and get it on his own, and he will, and a lot more. Out to the 25 before Jordan Mack is there to bring him down, and that's a 1st down and an element that we didn't see in the 2nd quarter.
I mean, you can't see that when he's not in the game. You need to have him in the game. I mean, his ability right here, he sees the pressure, he sees where the guys drop out from, and just follows them. I mean, that is the difference maker of your team. If you want to just have a rotation at quarterback and take him off the field, you're not doing the best for your team.
Now Hawkins, nowhere to go on 1st down. Noah Taylor there again. First down for Louisville since the 1st quarter. Just want to get out with a little bit of room to breathe here.
Yeah, with this wind and the wet weather, it's going to be a field position battle, low-scoring game right now. So you want to get out of your own end zone, pin them deep. But right now, Louisville's looking to get these 1st downs. I feel like their best chance is with Cunningham in the game.
Hawkins, maybe a yard. Jordan Mack, those linebackers in this 3-4 defense for Virginia are active.
And the reason why they're able to be so active is because up front, they got guys like Jawan Briggs, Eli Handback, Manny Alonzo, Aaron Fumui, Richard Burney. All these guys up front are taking up 2 blocks. So they're allowing Jordan Mack, Zane Zandier, Carl Smith to flow over top and get to the ball. Really good job by the big guys up front, occupying 2 bodies.
Another 3rd and long now for Louisville. Cunningham, pressure coming. It's a complete to Fitzpatrick. Let's see where they mark him. Forward progress. It's going to be enough for a 1st down.
We talked about Virginia bringing pressure. There's going to be one-on-one matchups on the sideline. We highlighted pregame Des Fitzpatrick and his ability to win those 50-50 balls in the air. He makes them look like 90-10 balls because he comes down with so many of them. Big play by Des Fitzpatrick and really accurate timing pass by Micale Cunningham.
2 conversions on 3rd and long for the Cardinals on this drive. Hawkins sideswipes the first tackler, maybe picks up 4.
Javian Hawkins.
Chris Army knife. Chris Moore was there for the stop. Hawkins, diminutive, yet he's the type of guy who can carry. He carried the ball 26 times last week against Clemson. That's against Clemson's defense.
Yeah, 130 rushing yards for him as well against Clemson. He's a guy who is a physical runner, even though he is so small.
Cunningham now rolls out, uses to carry it himself. Avoids Zandier, picks up 3.
Number 11, Charles Stone on the tackle for the Cavaliers.
See Zandier coming on that secondary contain. We taught as a linebacker sometimes in zone coverage that if the quarterback breaks the primary contain of the defensive end, you have to leave your zone position. Good job by Zandier forcing the quarterback to get out of bounds.
Pressure coming from Virginia. Cunningham got rid of it.
Ooh, and that looks like
overthrows Dawkins. We've got flags on the field.
And that could be a targeting call by Jordan Mack. Be a big loss for Virginia.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Defense number 4. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down. The previous play is under further review.
So Jordan Mack, guilty of the infraction with targeting. They're reviewing it. We'll tell you what happens when we come back. Jordan Mack walking off the field, the senior linebacker for Virginia, disqualified because of the targeting call. It was reviewed, and it was confirmed by our replay official, Rusty Acree. So this is a tough break for Virginia.
Yeah, and watch right here. There's an indicator. You're launching with forcible contact with the crown of your helmet. It doesn't matter really where that contact is made. If you're lowering your head and launching with the crown of your helmet into a defenseless player, that is going to be called targeting. It looks like it was also to the head area, hit that bottom of that face mask. Now, we were questioning earlier whether Jordan Mack had a previous targeting call, but now this one being in the second half is not only going to affect him the rest of this game, but the following game as well. It's going to be a big one versus UNC. Then he's their leader on the defense as well.
Yeah, he'll have to sit out the first half of that game in Chapel Hill next weekend. And now Virginia, this defense is going to have to go the rest of the way today with Nick Jackson, a true freshman out of Atlanta, playing in that linebacker spot.
Yeah, they've been impressed with him, but as you said, true freshman, wide receiver in high school. This is the first real time he's had at linebacker.
Hawkins on the stretch. Picks up 10, 12 tough yards.
And they ran it right at Nick Johnson. You see number 55, Caleb Chandler. Watch this play. Here he is right on the right side of your screen. 55, Caleb Chandler just gets up there and locks him up. That has to be the linebacker's play. You got to lower your shoulder and get through that block. They're no fools. They're going right at the new guy. Right at him again.
Hawkins, near side. This time Jackson stands him up.
Well, maybe he got some jitters out and he puts Tyler Haycraft on his back and makes a good play in the backfield. It's just being thrown into the fire right now for Nick Jackson. He's 1-1 so far.
Trips to the top of your screen for Cunningham. We'll look to the end zone. Trying to get it to Tutu. Down to the 1-yard line.
Oh my goodness, that is Such a good throw by Micale Cunningham. I cannot even explain. Takes a huge hit, gets the ball to Tutu Atwell all the way across the field on the sideline. And fantastic job standing in there. And watch him take this hit. Noah Taylor's coming in, bangs him, but look how he leads his receiver away from the defensive back. All the way down, right 3-yard line.
Hawkins, he'll score.
Great job by Louisville, running up to the line of scrimmage after that big play and handing it to your playmaking running back. But watch the shift of this offense. They move everybody over. This is a way you can create an unbalanced set to this side of the screen, and you gain an extra gap. You force the defense to play an extended front. Really good job. Great call by Dwayne Ledford, the offensive coordinator. Great execution by the offensive line of Louisville.
Creaky ties this game up. Hawkins finishes an 89-yard drive for the Cardinals. We're all even in Louisville. Tie game here in the third quarter. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Freshman running back Javian Hawkins, number 10. You can see him with his mouthpiece right there. Just scored the touchdown. On pace for over 1,000 yards this season. Who's the last Louisville freshman to rush for over 1,000 yards? We're going to give you our thoughts in a second. We want you to ponder that question for a moment.
Might know who that is.
Ponder this question. Does Blanton Creaky kick the ball anywhere near Joe Reed?
Absolutely not. Although it didn't matter on that first kickoff because he kicked it away from him and the ball was just handed right back to Joe Reed. So you saw the little scrum kick. Let's see what they do here.
Got a holder here. He just pops it up and waits. Reed. It's caught by Kelly, but he goes out of bounds at the 14. That's a mistake.
Yeah, it is a mistake.
He could have let that one go out of bounds and they would have gotten much better field position.
Yeah, and you want to catch it as a returner because you never know exactly where you are, but you want to place at least 1 foot out of bounds while you catch it. If you have 1 foot planted out of bounds and you catch the football, it ends up being an out-of-bounds kick, so you get that penalty yardage upfield.
We talked about how field position has played such a critical role in this game. Second quarter, Louisville was backed up to their own end zone almost the entire quarter. Well, here we are in this third quarter, and now Virginia has got a long field to deal with. Perkins will look to throw. Has Jana. And he gets him out of trouble right away.
Good pitch and catch by Perkins on that one to Jana. Just a little curl route into the zone, but it seems like Bryce Perkins is waiting for his receivers to get open and then throwing it. He wants to anticipate them being open and get the ball there a little bit sooner.
Himself, he's in a lot of trouble. Now he throws it. He will get it out of bounds. Dorian Etheridge was forcing him to make a desperation throw to avoid the big loss.
Well, there needs to be some communication from Bryce Perkins to his training staff. He is not right now. And I know that he has too much emotion and maybe a little bit too much pride right now to say anything, but that was not the same running Bryce Perkins that we're used to seeing. Let's go into a bunch set here.
2nd and 10. Perkins pressure coming. He's going to be dropped. Vontae Burns was there. Marlon Character out of his cornerback spot. And a big loss for the Cavaliers.
Great pressure off the edge, a cornerback blitz from the hash by Character. He's getting the start today. This is his first start of the season for him. He comes up big and at form tackle, 3rd and long for UVA. Look for Louisville to play top down on this coverage. Look how far off they are from the wide receivers. It's forcing them to catch the ball in front and make the tackle.
Number 5. Dubois and Perkins can't connect.
Louisville's defense has traditionally been the weak point of their team, but today they are getting better and better as this game goes along. That was a big stop, and we talk about field position. You talked about that punt that got them down here, and now the field is going to be flipped again.
We'll see about that. Nash Griffin kicked a 78-yard punt in the first half with the wind at his back, and he has it at his back again. End over end. An opportunity here for Burns. Down to the 32 before Lamont Atkins brings him down. Great field position for the Cardinals.
And you see number 10, and you might think that that's Javion Hawkins, but no, that is the linebacker, Rajay Burns, who's their punt return specialist. Look at him go downfield. He has done such a great job. He transferred in here from Ohio State, converted from quarterback to that position. And
don't you love a punt returner who just gets north and south?
Yes, I do. It reminds me of a Darren Sproles. You see him make one cut and get vertical and use his body size to bounce off defenders.
Give the Hall. Now the fake to Atwell. Hall's going to keep it. He's going to get dropped for a loss. That play had no shot.
Yeah,
probably smart not to give it to Atwell at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that play was supposed to be a reverse. And you see the backup running back and dangerous return man, Hassan Hall. Good to see him back after, you know, he had an injury, but he made the decision not to hand it off because we had the defender, Chris Moore, just trailing his wide receiver. And it could have been a fumble, so good decision there to hold it, but that brings up second and long. They need to get back on track. Second and long is to get back on track down to make a manageable third down.
Hall cuts it back. Almost squirted through there. Picks up 5, but that could have been a big gain. Matt Gamm was there to bring him down and hung on.
Yeah, that was scary for a second for the UVA defense because you saw him get vertical. That's a lot of this stretch run game. They want to get the linebackers and the defensive line turning their shoulders and running east and west on the football field, not north and south or up and down the field. And then once you see that shoulder turn, you cut back. Really good job by Matt Gamm to get him down.
It's picked up. Now Cunningham's going to run. He's going to get tackled. Eli Handback was there. The blitz was initially picked up, but then Cunningham couldn't run out of it. Nice block by Hall here.
Yeah, and what you see the blitz coming, and you see Handback right there. And as the play develops, he just uses his relentless motor, continues to fight towards the quarterback, wraps him up. It was a really good blitz pickup initially by Hassan Hall and Zane Zandir, but the quarterback was flushed and great coverage downfield.
That'll force Louisville into a punting situation. I'm not sure they would have been able to kick even without the yards lost on that sack. They're kicking into the wind here, and King will try and pin Virginia deep. This one's going to go into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. 14-14 our score. Virginia-Louisville all tied. Let's answer our Aflac trivia question. Last freshman to rush for 1,000 yards.
I'm saying Victor.
The Cardinals.
I'm saying Victor Anderson.
What do you think?
St. X High School, teammates with my roommate. Lamar Jackson could be it too. Victor Anderson. Oh my God.
I was going to guess Bilal Powell.
Yeah, well, that would have been a good guess too.
I was way off on that.
So Victor Anderson went to high school with my college roommate. So we would follow him a little bit.
Could have been that guy right there.
Could have
Lamar Jackson, who was here in attendance today. It wasn't. I think he had 900-something yards rushing his freshman year. He's a quarterback that likes to run the football a bit. Bryce Perkins, given 5 on first down. For those of you who weren't with us in the first half, Perkins hurt his knee. We were worried that it might be something serious. He walked off under his own power. There was a series where Brennan Armstrong was a quarterback for Virginia. Then Perkins came back in the next series, but you don't think he's 100%.
This doesn't seem like it. You know, he has a style about him that's very smooth, and you know, he's able to move very fluidly, but I just don't see that same burst out of him when he does get into open field or being able to run away and avoid tackling.
Second down to 5. Reed brought down immediately, but that'll be enough for a first down.
Good blitz pickup there, and Bryce Perkins just replaced that blitz with the football and get it to Joe Reed for the first down.
Got a final minute here in this third quarter in Louisville. Don't forget Boston College and Clemson following us. Perkins again to Reed. He puts the ball on the carpet. And this is going to be a fumble and a Louisville recovery. C.J. Avery fell on it as Reed was trying to stretch for another yard or two, and he fumbled the football.
He sits right in that zone again, but look from the outside. Boozy Whitlow just tackles him. Looks like the ball
rolling on the
out
field
right here.
Complete a pass and a fumble recovered by the defense. The previous play is under further review.
And we've got to pay attention to where that knee hits the ground and when the ball starts coming loose. That's a football move, putting the ball away. Now it's fair game. It looks like the ball starts to slide out of his grasp before that knee hits the ground. Watch that bottom knee right there.
It's definitely out before that knee hits the ground.
So that would be a fumble. And you know,
you're 100% convinced this is a completion.
Yeah, right there. That's a football move. Trying to evade that tackler, Avery, number 9, coming from the top side. Let's probably see it again in live speed. That's what they use to determine whether.
The ball's coming out right there. It's loose right there, but he's still hanging on to it. Now the ball starting to come out and the ball out are two different things. The ball is moving in his arms, but it's still in his arms.
This is real time. So as he turns and goes to secure the ball, to me, that's a football move. That's enough time. It's not a bang-bang play. And right there, as he turns to make that cut, and he does not have the ball pinned against his own body. The ball is pinned against the defender's body. If he had kind of wedged it between his arm and his own body, that might have been ruled and continued to be possession. And we'll see what the officials say, but that is a close call.
This is a big play and a big call in this game. Field position is so key in a game with this kind of weather where it's difficult to really mount much offensively. You see the low-scoring nature with only 30 seconds left in this third quarter, and this will give, if it stands, it'll give Louisville the ball in Virginia territory.
Yeah, and you saw offensive coordinator Robin Nye talking to his wide receiver with some choice words, but at the end of the day, he said, if we're going to put the ball in your hands, we need to trust you to hold on to it. And we talked to anybody, coaches, players, anybody, when they talked about a wet football game, possessing the football was the #1 thing.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Louisville.
Fans here brave just rotten weather. Tropical storm Olga let out a big cheer from that one. And you see the turnover margin. This has been a story for them. Red zone offense, turnover margin. Last week they really sort of turned things around against Duke, forcing 5, doubling their season total. But today, that stat hasn't gone in their way.
Yeah, and going into that Duke game, they were really poor in that turnover margin. And then, you know, that 5 turnovers obviously helps. But today, you know, 2 turnovers given away is not good. Great cut by Micale Cunningham. He just made Joey Blunt fall over.
Picks up about 4 on first down.
Well, watch this guy. You see Joey on board number 29 right here. Like, oh, he's not even within 5 yards. And just really good running ability by Cunningham.
That's going to wrap things up for the third quarter. 14 apiece as we head to the fourth here in Louisville. Nobody cares about Tropical Storm Olga. Both Virginia and Louisville sidelines are lit. We're tied at 14 heading into the fourth quarter.
Dorian Ethery in the middle of that dance circle. I was very adamant at my wedding about no dance circles. I broke those up, but that one looked like it would have been fun.
I broke those up. Can you imagine Herzlich physically breaking up dance circles at his wedding? Second down here for the Cardinals. That's the redshirt freshman Hawkins. Gets about 5 before Devontae Cross brings him down. It'll bring up a third and short.
You know, some of those weddings, you get those dance circles going and you just can't get them out. Well, I had me and Anthony Costanzo, the biggest person at the wedding.
I can imagine, yeah.
Left tackle for the Colts, go in there and just break it up.
Cunningham keeps it. 20, 10, into the end zone.
Getting that vein ready for a direct injection of Micale Cunningham. This is just an absolutely different looking Cardinal team with him at the helm. So good. And even when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, they have to respect his ability to run the ball with it.
Creaky extends Louisville's first lead of the game to 7 points here early in the fourth quarter.
And watch this zone read right here. He is going to have his eyes focused on this outside linebacker position as this play develops. Such a good job of putting the ball in there and then pulling it last minute, using his speed to get around, and even using his running back, Javion Hawkins, as a lead blocker. He didn't have to do anything. And you see at the end of the play, number 5, Seth Dawkins, the wide receiver, 6'3", 218-pound wide receiver, downfield blocking for his quarterback. There's something different when number 3 is on the field at quarterback. Everyone seems to have more purpose behind their play, and you saw it there on that touchdown run.
As you see Coach Satterfield, the old adage, you've heard it, we've all heard it. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, and Coach Satterfield has been adamant that that's not the case with his Louisville Cardinals, but that is the case the way it's played out in this game.
Yeah, you know, to me, one of the biggest things that I'm looking at from this game, you know, as we walk away, was the fact that they pretty much wasted the second quarter offensively. And Evan Conley is a decent quarterback in his own right. He just is not at the same level right now that Micale Cunningham is. And when they put him in, the offense completely stalled. Now, Cunningham is back, and they are their usual explosive self.
Kelly from the 19. Tries to spin away from tacklers and cannot.
And they refuse to kick it to number 2, Joe Reed. I don't blame him for that. But even though they're kicking it short, their coverage team's doing a great job. Right now, you're seeing the momentum of this game go in the Cardinals' favor offensively with that long run with Cunningham at quarterback, defensively with the interception, and now special teams doing their part covering that kick.
Flag on the play as the officials talk things over. This one's going to go against Louisville on the kick. So Bronco Mendenhall will have a decision that isn't much of a decision.
Illegal formation, kicking team. After they're ready to play, a member of the kicking team went beyond 5 yards from the free kick spot. That's a 5-yard penalty. We will re-kick.
So they'll re-kick, and why not when you've got a guy like Joe Reed who has 5 career kick return touchdowns, including 2 this season already, back for you. Bronco Mendenhall says, yeah, let me give number 2 another shot.
I hate that penalty. I hate the fact that the refs called it. I mean, so there is a 5-yard box that you have to stay behind before the ball is kicked.
Coach Satterfield agrees with you.
I mean, it's never called. It's in the rule book. But if a player, once the ball is placed on the tee, ends up leaving that 5-yard box just for even a split second, technically a penalty can be called. It's never called. But that's so that there's not that full 10, 20-yard running start till you get to the ball. But hey, by the rule book.
Look where Joe Reed is standing right now at his own 20-yard line.
Yeah.
And this is with the wind at Creaky's back.
Well, I think that they're hoping that if the ball is kicked away to him, to Chris Sharp, number 31, the second guy back there, that they can possibly hand the ball off to Joe Reed.
I get it, but if you're Creaky, why don't you just try boot this thing into the end zone, make Reed have to run 20 yards back to get it. A live ball.
They're both even back there.
Reed will have a shot from his own 12. Up the middle. To midfield and into Cardinal territory. 40 yards. Satterfield was adamant this week when we talked to him. We're not kicking it to number 2.
Yeah, there's a player down with an injury, but he said if you see the ball go to number 2, then we made a mistake.
The 5-yard penalty against Louisville, costly. That's going to end up costing him about 30 yards in field position. We'll be back to check on the injured Cardinal when we come back. Louisville's senior kicker, Blanton Creaky, was injured on that last kick for the Cardinals, so that is potentially some really serious news for Scott Satterfield and company as this game promises to remain close throughout the rest of the way. We're early fourth quarter here. Virginia's offense is really stalled.
Yeah, I mean, that's since their last touchdown. They just haven't gotten much going. You see that 141-yard drive. There was some good field position gain there, but that Joe Reed kick return was probably the biggest play so far this half for them.
Perkins is going to try and run it. Brought down after a gain of 3. C.J. Avery chased him out.
Yeah, great hustle by C.J. Avery. He's at that linebacker position, and the smaller linebacker, only 5'11", and he can run. It's a good job tracking down the quarterback there.
Atkins in the backfield. Reed now in the slot at the top of your screen. Perkins looked that way. Now checks off. He's going to carry it himself for a first down. Not even a thought of sliding. 11 yards on the carry.
Yeah, and at the end of the run, I mean, I still keep thinking, you'll watch this replay, and yeah, he's able to gain yards, but right here, right there is where I feel like in previous weeks I would have seen him do a little cut, move back to the outside. He just did not feel comfortable on that right knee. Whether it's actually in pain or it's just in his mind, something's affecting him running the ball.
Injured that knee in the first half, had to come out for a series. Alapapa. Kane pass.
Oh my goodness. Thou shalt not pass. Kane pass. Just comes up from that safety position. He's leading this team in tackles, and watch him lay this lick on Talapapa. Boom! That's a form tackle. That will be a teach tape. Great play. He is a fifth-year senior leader of this defensive backfield. You talk about buy-in. A guy who was in that old regime and now has come into this defense and stood up as a leader.
Perkins keeps it. He'll be dropped for a loss. Boozy Whitlow was there. A couple other Cardinals. 3rd and long now for Virginia.
And it was set up as a option play where he's going to roll out here and has a pitch man in tow. But watch the ability of these defensive linemen and linebackers to just get over top of blocks and get to the ball. You see right there from the backside, 49 tracks him down, but it was the front side guys that slowed him up. Whitlow, another big play from him.
3rd and 13. Now the Cardinals come with the pressure, and they'll sack him. J.J. Robinson, Russ East.
And they ran a max protection play to keep 2 extra blockers in. Only 3 receivers went downfield, but that did not matter. J.J. Robinson, from his nose tackle position, got in the backfield and wrapped up Bryce Perkins.
End over end. It'll take a bounce, and Denton's right there.
And this Louisville defense has been absolutely outstanding. You see J.J. Robinson getting this big sack. Cardinals are rolling.
ACC Network Football is brought to you by Food Lion, the official grocer of the ACC.
ACC legends announced for 2019. Don Mikowski, the Magic Man, on the left for Virginia. And Deion Branch, who had so much success in the NFL with the Patriots, on the right. Magic Man was part of Coach Welch's really kind of the beginning of what was a great run for Virginia football in those mid-'80s.
Deion Branch, great career with the Patriots, Super Bowl MVP.
Cardinals taking back over with the lead in their own territory. Hawkins tries to spin out of trouble, cannot do it. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Great pursuit by that Virginia defense. Joey Blunt eventually making the tackle.
Yeah, Joey Blunt missed that first tackle. He got PlayStation, then got back up, made the tackle. And last week he was ACC Player of the Week for defensive backs. Great game, 10 tackles, 1 interception last week. He's going to need to lead this defense right now with their true leader, Jordan Mack, out for the rest of this game.
Line inside of 10 minutes. Hawkins again. Bangs his way into the secondary. Still on his feet. He'll pick up a first down. Still on his feet.
And we talk about the loss of Jordan Mack and Nick Jackson filling in. It seems like Louisville is just looking for number 42. Find number 42 and let's run the ball to him. You see that late motion gets him a little bit out of position, and he eventually gets there, but that softness from the defensive front allows the lineman to get upfield. A big run there on first down.
Into Hawkins. Picks up 3. Nick Jackson was there to make the stop.
Yeah, Nick Jackson's going to have to step up. Again, that ball ran to his side, and the last 2 plays he ended up making the tackle. He's in the right spot. He's doing the right job. I would love to see him start moving downhill. But as a true freshman, being in the right spot is hard enough on its own. Making a couple tackles here gives him that confidence. Coaches really like him. See him as a very good player for them in the future.
Play action for Cunningham. He'll take off and run. Shoestring tackle. About 3 yards. Zandier was there to bring him down. This is a big third down.
Yeah, this is a big third down, and this is third down and just long enough where you usually see that Virginia's Tech or the Virginia pressure package. Obviously not Virginia Tech. And let's see if they do that here, where they go man-to-man on the outside and bring pressure up front. A lot of times you would get the Jordan Mack, Zane Zandier pressure where one guy pressures and the other guy loops across. Let's see if they bring that here.
Cunningham looks to have it. Dangerous pass. Blunt tried to make the pick. Couldn't reverse his footing.
Yeah, and
brings up 4th down.
They don't bring that pressure at that point from that spot. They dropped back and played zone, but did just enough movement pre-snap to throw off the pass from Micale Cunningham. And that's a big stand for Virginia's defense. In this field position battle, they're going to be hoping for a big return here in order to get the ball back in scoring position.
Billy Kemp, the 4th, standing on his own 20-yard line. Mason King will put a foot into it. He's got the wind mostly at his back. A little crosswind. And he hammers this one. Will they get it inside the 5?
Oh, boy.
What a punt. 56 yards, and Marlon Character was down there down it inside the 5. Special teams have been huge in this game. And on this particular play, it's the Cardinals who pin the Cavaliers deep.
There's been a lot of talk about Virginia's defense, but it's been the Cards defense that has been making the plays. Big interception, now the forced fumble by Boozy Whitlow, and then just harassing Bryce Perkins the entire game in the backfield. 2 sacks on the day. They've been playing lights out on defense. And compared to what they've done all season, today is their best performance by far. Now pinned Bryce Perkins way back in his own end zone.
Perkins will look to throw. Just throws this one away, looking for Reed, but Reed covered nicely by Rajay Burns. Very versatile outside linebacker for this Cardinal defense.
There's just this feeling that I'm getting in this stadium right now that there's a sense of urgency in these red and black jerseys, and I don't feel it from Virginia. In the play calling, in the throws, in the urgency of the offensive line not taking turns, I just don't feel it.
Perkins, quickest to Dubois. Stays on his feet, but the Cardinal defense is there to stop his forward progress. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
Chris, I don't know if I do anything but just keep the ball in Bryce Perkins' hands right here and pick up 1 yard.
He's got Atkins in the backfield with him. He's going to look to throw. Out here to Reed. He'll pick up the 1st down and get it out to about the 20.
Good job by sensing the pressure by Bryce Perkins and getting it out to his receiver.
Clock running inside of 7 minutes now. Virginia, we showed you the score of that North Carolina game going on right now, and Virginia fans hoping to get a win here to set up maybe a huge matchup next week in Chapel Hill against North Carolina as far as the Coastal is concerned, but they got to escape here. They're down 7 points with that clock winding down, and they're still here in Louisville territory.
Yeah, you do. And you know, maybe I got a sense of urgency up here in the booth, but you know, you look at that man's face, and that's just calmness, and that's poise. You do want that from your quarterback. They have enough time here. They just haven't had a lot of momentum coming into this series offensively.
Perkins will look to run. There's a good move. That'll pick him up about 4. Gabon was there to bring him down, but that got him free.
Yep, that was a good cut. He's coming up a little gingerly now as he walks back to the huddle. Needed to have that run, but right now, I mean, he's hobbled back there. This is the first time we've seen that limp. This pace is coming.
3rd and 1. Perkins back to pass. Can't connect with Janet. And Perkins is slow to get up.
Looks like they're bringing the punt team on the field, but look at him get hit at the end of this play. It's on the ground, and I don't think he stays down because he's hurt. He's just trying to look and see. But he's been beat up this game.
Now Nash Griffin in the punt for the Wahoos. Wind just kills this one. Takes a slight Virginia bounce. Touch at about 36.
Tried to get away with one there.
Take over. Just over 5 minutes to go here. Louisville up 7. So that was a big evening for the Cardinals. They're hoping to make it 2 in a row tonight. This would be a huge win for them in Scott Satterfield as they try to play their way into bowl eligibility. This would be win number 5 on the year, but they got to hang on. We still have 5:05 remaining. Cunningham looking to pass. Going to try to get it to Fitzpatrick. Battling with Devontae Cross, and flags come.
Des Fitzpatrick.
Pass interference, defense, number 15. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Des Fitzpatrick just gets behind the defense, and that's a very scary position to be in as Devontae Cross, because you really can't do much.
He really didn't do much.
He really didn't do much, but the fact that Fitzpatrick just tried to even come back to the ball, and no head turn happened. There is no face guarding in college football, but still, I guess the call was he restricted him from making the catch.
Hand off to Hawkins. He just burst through that hole. He'll do 7. Closing in on 100 yards now for Hawkins.
It was interesting, though, that pass, that long pass to Des Fitzpatrick that resulted in that penalty, that was one of the first times we've seen that all game. We thought there were going to be a lot more of those deep shots. You saw the big crossing route to Tutu Atwell, but you know, that's the matchup that we had anticipated with Bryce Hall, the all-everything corner hurt for the year for Virginia. Might go back to that at some point.
Hawkins again. Bangs off the first tackler, still on his feet. This kid is tough. They have him listed at 5'9", 182 pounds, but that's his 26th carry of the night, and that moves him to 100 yards.
Yeah, it does, and at the end of the play, you see big number 60, Taylor Haycraft, just like push his guy a little bit farther, and you get to run behind some offensive tackles in Mekhi Becton and Taylor Haycraft. And when we talked to the offensive coaches for Louisville, they said that those two guys are what they want this program to be. They were raving about Haycraft and his ability of just getting to the ball. He's always the first one to help the quarterback up. Anywhere on the field the ball goes, he will be there next because of his effort and relentless pursuit of the ball.
Hawkins bounces outside, and just one man to beat. Joey Blunt brings him down, or he would have scored.
And if you're not running the Haycraft side, that means you're running behind Becton, your gigantic left tackle. And Snowden just gets a little bit too nosy, and that monstrous speed by Javion Hawkins to get outside.
Got to give credit where credit's due there, too. Marshawn Ford, the H-back with a nice block to spring him on the outside. Clock winding down, under 3 minutes. Louisville in no hurry to snap this ball. Hawkins again. Dancing his way to the second level. Inside the 5, he'll score!
Great run by Hawkins. They come back to the exact same play that they ran earlier in the drive that got them 10 yards. And look at the big man jump. That's 270 pounds airborne. Let's run the football.
100 pounds off of that. That's 370 pounds airborne.
Dude, I was talking about the coach. The 370, that was the player. And watch this block right here. They're able to cut block that backside 3 technique. And this play will start, and the ball will just go right up there through the middle. But that cut block frees open that backside running lane. Absolutely stupendous block by Marshawn Ford. You just gave him credit where credit was due. Well, he gets credit again and leads Javion Hawkins into the end zone. But great job by that offensive line, cutting the defense to create those vertical seams on that stretch play.
Hawkins responsible for every yard on that drive. This is a redshirt freshman. 28 carries, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And if you talk about signature wins, Satterfield's, maybe it was the basketball score win that they had over Wake Forest. Well, this one might even be sweeter here, because it gets them to 5 wins, and with 3 of their last 4 games on the road, this is huge for them to get a W here in terms of positioning themselves for a bowl run, which would be remarkable in Satterfield's first year here in Louisville.
Yeah, and the expectations for what Satterfield could bring to this team, they were not that high, to be frank. He wanted to win a couple games his first year. He's done much more than that. If they can get this win, that would be huge for this program.
Reed takes it out to the 31-yard line tonight at 7:30 Eastern time. It follows us. Boston College and Clemson from Death Valley. Our ACC Network primetime matchup presented by Geico, also available on the ESPN app. We saw Clemson right here on this field last week. Trevor Lawrence struggled a little bit early, couple of picks. This doesn't seem to be right. But yet I still feel with Clemson, when they get to the big moments, whether it's South Carolina game at the end, the rivalry game, ACC championship, whatever it may be, they're going to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, you think so, and they've been so dominant in the ACC play so far this year that they've been able to steamroll a couple guys and make up for those turnovers, but they got to get those turnovers out of their game. Great catch by Assis Dubois right there over the middle. They got to get those turnovers out of their game when they're looking forward to who they might play coming up in the playoffs or in a huge bowl game, depending upon what the rankings are.
See if they can stop that two-headed rushing attack by Boston College. Had over 400 yards rushing last weekend. Assis Dubois with another catch. That's a first down.
Virginia's not out of this game yet. You know, there's still 2-13. We've seen crazier things happen in ACC football, and especially when you got a guy back there like Bryce Perkins. He can be electric and get the ball going.
Slinging it out to Dubois right now. Those two just are taking what the defense is giving them.
Timeout, Virginia. Their first timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Mendenhall takes his first timeout to talk things over. Now that they're in Louisville territory. 2:04 remaining, down 14. Don't miss the huddle. That's our signature football show. It's hosted by Jack Collinsworth, analysts Eric McLean, EJ Manuel, and Mark Richt as he continues to get well. Mark, you're certainly in our thoughts. They'll preview the weekend slate of games and keep you updated on all things ACC football. That's live next Friday at 8 Eastern, Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern, right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app.
Talk about taking what the defense is giving them, and that's exactly what they're doing. You see Chandler Jones, the cornerback number 2, and Arlon Character, they're just playing off. They're saying, okay, if you're going to throw the ball to these receivers, we're just going to come and tackle them inbounds. That's what they've been doing, forcing them to take timeouts.
Pressure coming. Perkins is going to step up. Will he be able to run? He's going to be tracked down from behind. Monty Montgomery tracks him down, uses that speed.
Monty Montgomery got his first start of the season last week with Dorian Etheridge out for a targeting call, but they saw something in him. He had 10 tackles last week coming off that edge. He can do pass rush as well as any of them on their team.
Third sack of the game for the Cardinals. Well, Javian Hawkins certainly continues to be special. These two games in a row. About the same yardage, about the same carries, but against Clemson and Virginia, those two defenses.
And that's not only a testament to what he's able to do, but also this offensive line of Louisville and their ability to not get scared of the challenge. I mean, quite honestly, at the offensive line position, you have to feel like we can knock anybody off the ball, and they've proved that these past 2 weeks.
In a Virginia offense that has had a hard time putting the ball in the end zone. Really, year 2 over the last 3 weeks. Perkins. Surveying the field. Now the pressure comes. Gets it to Jana, but it's knocked away. Chandler Jones is making all kinds of plays, as is C.J. Avery tonight. 4th down and 7 as the rain now.
Virginia's hurrying up the line of scrimmage. Here could be the play of the night for this Louisville defense.
Perkins has time, gets it complete. That's Jana again. It'll be a 1st down.
Oh, man. I mean, we talk about ice running through your veins. Bryce Perkins back there, just absolutely no emotion on his face. Throws an absolute strike to Jana, who had dropped the previous one. Confidence in him to come down with that one. He did.
Perkins going to the end zone for Brissett. Just couldn't quite make the turn to get there.
This drive right here has been the best drive that UVA's had in recent memory. And when we look at it, they're running a lot of this max protection because Louisville's been so good at getting pressure on the quarterback.
Perkins flushed out. Almost a great catch. That was Brissett again.
Marlon character on the coverage there. And this is his first start. I mean, you look at the pressure that he has coming into this game, performing, and he has done nothing but exceed expectations. Another great play by him tonight.
3rd down and 10 for Virginia. Down 2 scores, 1:25 to go.
Try to get half the yardage, 5 yards here, but they send everybody deep.
Trying to get to Dubois and just oversails it. He went down again. Just been getting beat up all evening. 4th and 10. They've converted 1 on this drive. They're going to have to convert another if they want to keep their hope alive. Waning hope at 1:19 left in this game. Can't reiterate enough, it's a Louisville team that won 2 games last year. Scott Satterfield came in, as always, with a first-year coach late in the going. Small recruiting class. Changing the culture. This will be win number 5 on the year if this Cardinals can hang on. Perkins steps up. Jana, what a catch.
Wow. Shot an absolute dart out to Jana. Looks like he got that left toe barely on the ground. Oh my goodness.
I mean, maybe 1 rubber pellet popped up.
Well, the crowd saw the replay on the Jumbotron, and I don't know if they saw the rubber pellet.
The ruling on the field was a completed catch for a 1st down. The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, it's under review. I don't think it's enough to overturn it because it looked like he is dragging this left toe, the right toe right there. Maybe the left also.
Yeah, that one right there. Boop, you see that little drag of black line. Is that little, let's see, yeah, oh yeah. That's a great shot of it right there. I mean, it's so difficult to do that. The amount of body control I mean, if I was to throw you something right now and have you know where your foot was, I mean, it's just, it's hard to do that. And you practice it over and over again. But in crunch time, when the game is on the line, you need to make this catch. A perfectly thrown ball on the sideline and to have the awareness to get that toe down. Great job. Let's see.
Right on that 28-yard hash mark.
Yeah, let's see the catch though. Let's see if he has control. So he has control there. Toe's still down. I believe that's a catch. Okay, so now Not a ton of time on the clock. I mean, you have a minute 12. You're in the red zone where you've struggled. The only success they had in the red zone last week.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. The spot of the ball is the 27-yard line. First down.
The only success you had in the red zone last week was running the ball with your quarterback. Running is out of the picture right now because you have to conserve time.
The one timeout on the board for Bronco Mendenhall. You see the rain coming down hard.
That's Jana right there. That's been the guy on this drive. You have to go back to him. Rain is just
not the best time for this Virginia offense to have rain start coming down in sheets. Perkins has all day to throw. Wow. Jana again short, about 7 yards on the catch. Character is there to bring him down, and that's what Character wants to do because that keeps the clock running.
But look at that rain. I mean,
final timeout by Bronco Mendenhall.
Timeout, Virginia. Their third and final timeout of the half.
Louisville defensive coordinator Brian Brown said when we spoke to him earlier this week, he thinks that this defense might have been the worst in the history of college football. he was
last year.
Yeah, last year they were so bad, and yet at times this year they've had some issues as well, but they look pretty darn good today.
Yeah, and when I talked to him, I said, you know, what is it about your defense? It seems like they play well for a little bit of the game and then all of a sudden give up 30 straight points. And he said, oh, you noticed that too? He was not too happy about it. But he reiterated to us, that these are all the same guys. These are the same guys from that defense that just looked absolutely terrible last year. But they have bought into this new culture, and you're looking at a guy, Connie Pass and Russ Yeast, two of these leaders of this secondary and leaders of this entire defense.
Virginia now out of timeouts from the 20. Perkins will be sacked. That's Monty Montgomery again.
Monty Montgomery, look at this rain pouring down. Becomes tough to hold the ball, tough to block. Setting everybody back now in coverage. Drop 8.
Trying to get it to Jana, and does. Jana with the adjustment. Ball in the air, worked toward the sideline, and he makes the catch. That's 24 yards in this monsoon.
That's unbelievable. It's hard to think that Perkins could even see him out there, and we saw Jana remove his gloves before the last timeout was called.
Substitutions coming in with the clock ticking down.
UVA substitutes, that allowed time for Louisville substitute. You can't substitute in 2 minutes left.
I thought he was out of bounds.
Chris, that's a very good
Perkins
point.
is just going to throw that out. I understand that when you get the first down, the clock stops temporarily, but I thought that Jana went out of bounds to stop the clock.
I mean, that's a very good point.
Here's the look at it again. I guess the knee was down before he went out of bounds is what they were saying right there.
Yeah.
Wow, those inches just cost him a lot of time.
And you see Bronco Mendenhall right now talking to the official because he was under the impression that he went out of bounds too. That's why he substituted. And then extra seconds came off the clock. And now you have 13 seconds left and you need 14 points. The Louisville sideline understands the situation. You see them in the background with the cheerleaders waving their pom-poms. And that sideline is dancing. See, that's what I like. There's no circle there. You see everybody's dancing together.
That was acceptable at your wedding?
That's inclusive right there.
Yeah, the math doesn't really add up very well for Bronco Mendenhall and this Virginia team right now. First things first, they got to score. They got to score on this play, essentially.
They do.
Hope for an onside kick, and then one last prayer into the end zone. With Olga raining sheets down here on the field, that isn't going to be an easy task. It wouldn't be on a perfect night.
The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, they're reviewing now to see if Jana went out of bounds, and if he did, they'll put more time on the clock.
I mean,
But what I don't understand is
it's not the previous play.
Yeah, they ran a play. They ran a play, and he threw it out of bounds.
So this play can't be under review because this play was not the most recent play. And so let's look at this next play.
This is the play. What are they reviewing on this play? Whether he's outside the tackle box, whether the ball got to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
maybe that's what they're reviewing. The line of scrimmage was the 5, still is. Maybe they're just making sure that they have the right amount of time on the clock. To your point that you made, Bronco thought he went out of bounds, and so he substituted. That took time off the clock, but then once the offense substitutes, then the defense has the ability to substitute, and that took even more time off the clock.
Yeah. So now what they might be reviewing is if the game clock should have been running or not, right? So say they did rule him out of bounds on the previous play, the completion. If they ruled him out of bounds, then the clock should have been stopped. If it was a clock error between those plays, they might be able to see, okay, you know, we need to put this much time back on the clock. But it's interesting that they didn't blow that play dead if that was the case. So now they're looking back. It'll be interesting to hear from these officials on what the ruling is.
This is a hearty lot. These fans in attendance here at Cardinal Stadium, they have a right to boo, cheer, pretty much do anything they want.
Let's watch from the end of this play. Let's look at this referee here. What does he signal? Okay, so he signals a completion right there, moving the chains. So the clock would stop to move the chains. It looks like they blew the whistle dead with those arms crossed over their head. And let's look here, right there, you see them telling to run the clock.
Winding it, right.
And now that signal with the arms out to the side, they're holding the play because of substitution. So it'll be really interesting to see here what is done with the clock. Again, it was unclear as to whether the clock should have been running. Now, you see that signal by Bronco Mendenhall where he's kind of waving his arm in a circle like winding a clock. That was not the case when the ball went out of bounds initially.
After review, the game clock will start in error. So we will set it to 29 seconds. The previous play was an incomplete pass. Second down.
Okay, so the ruling is that the game clock started in error, meaning that it ran when the receiver did in fact go out of bounds. So the clock stops. Now, the game clock started to run. There's no need to review the out of bounds play because that was the case, but the game clock was running before the previous play. That play is incomplete. They put the time back on the clock.
29 seconds. Down 2 scores. Virginia needs one quickly here. Perkins. Is he going to run it in himself? Flips it in the end zone, and a great catch. Tavares Kelly Jr. had to come back for it and use all of his 5'8" frame to make the grab, so Virginia isn't done yet.
21 seconds left. Bryce Perkins, everything's initially taken away. He's able to use his legs, and right there, he's had trouble all year running with the ball in a throwing position. A lot of times he pulls it into his chest to run. Right there, he does a good job of keeping it in that throwing hand, finding his receiver in the end zone.
Delaney will kick the PAT. What's more important is his onside kick that will come up in just a few moments.
The fans here do not like the fact that those seconds went back on the clock. Lots of boos.
Still a desperate situation for the Wahoos.
Tavares Kelly's a big recruit for them. He's only a sophomore, but he's from St. Thomas Aquinas. That Miami school produced Joey Bosa, Michael Irving. He's used to playing in some big games. No bigger catch than perhaps that last one.
You've been on Hans' team on onside kicks, haven't you?
Oh,
That
absolutely.
thing's going to be like a greased pig in this weather coming at you.
This is the type of deal where you have one guy who you designate, this is the guy who I want fielding the ball. The rest of the guys need to block that front line, that front wave. So too many times you see the front line players get nosy and try to jump for the ball or try to recover it themselves. Unless it's kicked directly to you, let it go to that second line.
Virginia has recovered an onside kick this year against Notre Dame. Comes to the far side. Ball still live. And the Cavaliers look like they have it. They do. As Assis Dubois falls on the football, they'll have one final shot. They got 19 seconds. You can get 3 plays in 19 seconds.
Look at Bronco bend it all. Oh my goodness, he goes, whoo! Let's see here. There was only 3 guys back there, and Assis Dubois, did you see him tightrope along the sideline? He cannot go out of bounds and then come back in and recover this football. He tightropes that sideline and does an excellent job. Watch right here, right on the sideline, stays in bounds. That's an unbelievable job. That's awareness by a big player. Now they have the ball.
And a flag down, and they're talking it over with Bronco Mendenhall right now.
Well, if there is a flag, it could be they thought he went out of bounds, but that's reviewable. His foot stepped out of bounds. That's what that ref just mouthed in his microphone. If that's the case. Oh, no flag.
There is no foul on the play. The ball was recovered by Virginia. First down.
So if this calling game stuff doesn't work out for me, at least I can be a lip reader. But wow. I mean, we knew special teams was going to be huge, but between the punting game and then that onside recovery. Where's number 13, Terrell Jana? He's their go-to guy.
He's split wide down to the bottom of your screen.
Here he is down here.
Block at top.
It's not his usual spot. He's usually in the slot. Let's see if they go to him.
Louisville rushes forward. Perkins all kinds of time. Incomplete. Nice close on the play by Chandler Jones.
So it seems like they sent a lot of guys deep on that play. I want to get about 10 or 15 yards on this pass, but it needs to get out of bounds, or at least a first down so you can run to the ball quickly and get one last shot to the end zone.
Perkins steps up. Short.
Ooh, you better get a first down here.
He's trying to get out of bounds, and he does. They'll rule him out of bounds. Whew. At the 40-yard line, just 2 seconds left to play.
Man.
So this will be the final play of the game.
Lamont Atkins. That is a heads-up play by him. He's not usually a receiver for them. He gets all the way out of bounds, sets up one final play. Everybody is deep.
Please reset the game clock to 3 seconds. 3 seconds. This is not a timeout. Reset the
Fans
game
here
clock.
unhappy about that, but that's immaterial. This is the last play of the game.
Timeout. Their first timeout.
Barring a defensive penalty.
30-second timeout.
Which is what Virginia is going to hope for.
Think back to the Clemson game right at the end of the half. Trevor Lawrence just threw a ball up in the back of the end zone, and Louisville was not able to knock it down, and that touchdown right before half was really what sparked the massive difference in the game for Clemson.
Jordan Cornette and the crew back in studio standing by. They're going to take you up until the kickoff of Boston College and Clemson Death Valley. That's coming up next here on the ACC Network. We've got one final play here, a desperation play for Virginia. But the fact that we're even in this situation, given where we were about 15 minutes of real time ago, is something.
Absolutely. And so when you look at this play, you want, let's watch this clock here just to see when he did go out of bounds. Looks like it could even be at 4 seconds.
4, 3,
doesn't really matter. 4, 3, 2 is one play left.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know why Louisville doesn't have everybody deep. I mean, sometimes you want to bring pressure, but
Please reset the game clock to 4 seconds.
Now 4 seconds. Yeah, they've added 1 second. You saw his knee went out of bounds. Atkins, as he was just desperately trying to get there.
Fans are so mad. So there's only 3 Cardinals along the goal line. Everybody else is up close. You see all the receivers go over to that left side of the field and just throw it up.
To the end zone. One man down there. It's batted down. That's going to do it.
And who batted that ball down? Number 5, Seth Dawkins. They put their big 6'3" wide receiver in on that last victory play. Said, I want my best jump man to go up and jump and knock that one down, and he does. Absolutely massive win for these Louisville Cardinals, led by their defense.
Micale Cunningham didn't play in the second quarter, but had a heck of a third and fourth quarter. Final play.
Great job to go up, knock the ball straight down to the ground. Don't want to have any opportunity for that ball to get tipped up in the air. Micale Cunningham did some of everything for this Louisville team. You see number 28 at the bottom of your screen, that's the punter king. He had an absolutely massive punt to finish that game too. Offense and defense and special teams all played together.
On a rainy, windy night here in Louisville, Bryce Perkins couldn't quite bring his Cavaliers back. Louisville with the 28-21 win. Kelsey Riggs is downstairs with the winning coach.
Well, Coach, a little stressful for you there at the end, I'm sure, but probably the biggest win that you've gotten here at Louisville. You look around, the fans that stuck it out, and you see these guys celebrating. What does this one mean to you?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, hey, it's hard to win football games, and particularly in the ACC. I mean, it seems like every game comes down to the wire, and our guys have won a lot of close games, but that's the sign of champions, you know, and I'm so proud of our guys, the way they keep competing and fighting, and you know, good things happen to guys that work hard and do things right.
Micale Cunningham and Javion Hawkins were impressive, but I want to talk about your defense because they were really good, made a play there at the end. How proud are you of what they accomplished?
They played outstanding. You know, they've given up some plays this year, but tonight they came out and played a great game, got some turnovers, contained that quarterback. Bryce Perkins is a great player, and you know, it was just fun watching them play. You know, we had a lot of faith in our defense today, and then the offense had a great drive to grind it out to get 2 scores up. You know, ended up winning the game.
Coach, thanks so much. Congrats. This is the big one.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach Kels. Appreciate it. Louisville, they improved to 5-3 overall, 3-2 in the ACC. Virginia, meanwhile, the ACC Coastal, the chaos continues.
Just when we thought we had it figured out, this happened.
The guys in studio will chat all about it coming up. Don't forget, we got Boston College and Clemson coming up as well. Louisville, 28, Virginia, 21. Back to the guys in the studio.